Hello everyone, hello everyone. Good day to you fellows. Good day everyone, good day. Hello Treasure Trove Tales, hello Eliza, hello I'm Not Creative, hello everybody. Apologies for the lack of stream yesterday. I ended up working on a video rather than taking one from my stream, so I've got one coming out after this. Hello from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Hello, I don't really know much about Michigan. I know that it exists. Flint is there, right? So that's my fact for the day. It's paused on a really unflattering image of me. Oh, right, there we go. You sound down. You okay? Yeah. I'm completely fine. I'm a little bit tired, but aside from that, I'm completely fine. I have no reason to be down. Hello, Chris in chat. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. My partner is from Michigan. I don't know anything about Michigan yet, apart from Flint, as I say. Flint is there, right? Flint, Michigan, the place with the dodgy water that Obama pretended to drink the water from, which was an interesting moment. So it's obviously been an interesting couple of days. I missed out on quite a few things. There's some interesting interviews with Israeli spokesmen to cover. And yeah, there's many different things to cover. Sorry, I'm just going to clean my glasses because they are filthy. I hate microfiber cloths. It seems to do less than my shirt does. Let's have a look. Hold on, sorry. Yeah, it seems cleaner now. Been a bit since I've caught a stream. Well, you're in for a treat today, as always. Every single stream is unbelievable. There'll be some unbelievable scenes today. Yeah. Oh, God. Sorry. I recently bought an antique cat figure and you both have the same moustache. That's brilliant news, Han. We do. Horrible stuff with Abu Shabab. Yeah, I mean, Israel's just backing a... The thing is the whole thing with that Abu Shabab guy was known ages ago. Like, it was known ages ago about this Abu Shabab guy. There's an internal UN memo which says this guy is looting aid. But, of course, they lied about it. Everyone likes the new moustache. The whole chat likes the new moustache. That's what I'm hearing. That's the stirrings currently. But yeah, gosh. I've got a YouTube video coming out and done. Your fan art is done. I know you have much more important things to pull your attention. Thank you, Treasure Trove Tales. Palestine and Spain. Yeah, I mean, at least they're decent-ish countries on it. Abu Shabab, who is a guy looting aid in Gaza. And he's also currently setting up these humanitarian bubbles with Israel. But the thing is that this is kind of the thing, here you go. Wait, here's some more videos of them. They've been going crazy on the aid looting. Here's a video of one of them. They wear identifiable uniforms featuring Hebrew writing, enabling soldiers to differentiate them from others. In this case, one of the gangs is wearing a shirt bearing the Hebrew word madrih, which means instructor. I don't know what that says, but this was an interesting thing. So, sources told me ISIS-linked gangs in Rafah have abducted Palestinians and carried out interrogations. This is kind of a mad story. It really is. It really is. Now, thank you. Yeah, I am going to keep the moustache. What is with the goalpost? What goalpost? What goalpost are you talking about? Oh, my camera is not in the right position. It's not in the right position at all. Let me have a look at that. Yeah, that's okay. Al-Khatib. No, what did Al-Khatib post about Shabab's gang? Does he like their gang? Does Ethan think that these are like the anti-Hamas protesters in Gaza or something? Sorry, I'm just fiddling with my camera. Good morning. We have the PA at home. I mean, yeah. They seem to have forgotten. Exactly. There was 100% yeses to the situation. But, yeah, apparently they've been interrogating people. Apparently the aid looting has been going absolutely crazy, like the amount that's being done in recent things. Thank you, by the way, Treasure Trove, for the incredibly kind donation. I just wanted to see if I could find the other one today that talked about like the level of looting that I saw. Apparently it's just gone absolutely crazy, the amount of looting that's occurred. Oh yeah, and as well, Israel posted a fake conversation, which here you go. I can put it on. Obviously,
شو صار غاد؟ بتاعت البنات اللي ماتوا؟ عم بقولوا استشهدوا 30 40 واحد.
والله لا، هو لا هو كذب، في اصابات وفي مات حوالي 7 8. انا بعت لك صورة الشاب اللي اتهموه انه هو ضرب الهار وانه وصار يطوف عليهم.
بدي اشوف في الموضوع انه عن جد في منه الحكي ولا لا.
لا فيش 30، فيش 30 ولا 50، في اصابات. الجيش صار يطخ. الجيش لما انضرب عليه هون، بس اللي كان يطخوا تبع الحماس بدهمش يخلوا الناس تاخذ مساعدات، بدهم يفشلوا.
Yeah, I mean, we don't even have to listen to it. It's just crap. It's just crap. It's crap that's pumped out for pro-Israel people to literally just buy into, like to live in a world of complete and utter fantasy. No one in Gaza says Yishrok Oeh. In our region, the hard K pronunciation only appears among the Druze or Palestinian citizens of Israel from the Galilee. Residents of Gaza pronounce it with a G. People from Gaza can confirm this. Furthermore, the audio provides no evidence, just a random call between an intelligence officer and an alleged alien they claim is from Gaza. I can make a similar video in higher quality. Frankly, it's laughable. Also, add a drone buzzing sound in the background. You forgot that last time. If you speak Arabic, you'd immediately notice how suspicious the flow of the conversation is. The interaction lacks coherence and the abrupt jumps in topic are obvious. Objectively speaking, a 7-year-old could put together a more convincing dialogue. They know it's fake. They don't care. The point isn't the truth. Yeah, I think that this is the whole point. It was like, you know, when Israel posted the video. The funny thing is, sorry, someone sent HyperJ sent me a message which I need to get back to. So someone found this. So Muin Rabbani was talking about it. During the early 1990s, Israel released what it insisted was a conversation between Yasser Arafat, who was purportedly speaking from an aeroplane, and one of his aides in Tunis. It basically consisted of several minutes of ceaseless anti-Semitic slurs. The intercepted conversation produced multiple headlines and reams of idiotic analysis in Western media for about 48 hours, until Israel was compelled to admit the conversation was a figment of its imagination, concocted out of the thin air from A to Z. More of the same blow. And someone posted it. They posted it here. Oh, fucking hell. I can't zoom in on that because the thing is so bad. I actually speak a little. Being unemployed makes you hyperfocus. And I didn't want to say, but it sounds really fucking weird. Maybe AI. No, it's probably just someone they've paid to do it. Like, they just paid to do it, to be honest. Like, I think that they just pay people to do these kind of things because there are always people you can find to collaborate. You wouldn't need to use AI. Sorry, because there are always people desperate for money. But I think that basically you can just, yeah. But here's the conversation. The PLO organisation denied today that a telephone conversation in which PLO chairman Arafat allegedly called Jews dogs and dirt ever took place. Excerpts of the purported call between Arafat and Ibrahim Sous, the PLO's representative in Paris, were broadcast Tuesday by CNN. CNN said it obtained the taped conversation from a Western police agency. Experts familiar with Arafat's voice said the comments attributed to him could be authentic, but they could not be sure. CNN reported, "I categorically deny the comments attributed to President Yasser Arafat and myself and reserve all my rights to action against the authors of this media manipulation," Seuss declared. The tape, he said, was aimed at making bellicose Israeli intentions in the Middle East, peace talks, and slurring the PLO chairman and himself. Seuss said Tuesday that he would sue CNN for defaming. Steve Hayworth, a cable news network spokesman in Atlanta, today stood behind the veracity of the report. The conversation purportedly took place on January 30th, a day after Palestinian guerrilla leader Habash arrived in Paris for medical treatment. I mean, there just seems to be a history of it, like, honestly. I mean, you can just make this up and enough people will believe it for enough period of time that they'll disseminate, like, bullshit information. It's kind of like, once again, it's like, this is what I talked about in the video that's coming out after this. So, what Travelling Israel would claim in his video and what many other Israeli propagandists would claim in their videos is that there existed a video of Hamas gunmen killing Palestinians, and this was actually what had provoked the aid distribution site. massacre. But like, even if you look at the iOS official thing, it says drone footage shows gunmen in Gaza shooting at civilians going to collect aid. Hamas is doing everything in its power to prevent the successful distribution of food in Gaza. They never claimed that this was actually where it was carried out. They never claimed that this was actually what was happened. This was actually what happened. It's really bizarre. And then it's pumped out by Israeli propagandists who are like, this is unbelievably true. We have never seen anything truer in our lives. And it's basically used as a means to just detract from the conversation. Doesn't have to be true for people to never be debunked. The rumour is enough. Exactly. I mean, that's the whole point. I don't think the truth really matters. I speak about this a lot. I don't think truth and facts matter as much as people think, really. And that they have like this powerful effect. Sorry, I'm fucking around with my camera a lot today. Hamas isn't hungry, nor their family. What do you mean, Hamas? Hamas isn't hungry, nor their family. What do you mean about that? Yeah, this isn't, also you can see, Abu Location pointed out where it actually is. Abu Location said the area is in Khan Yunis. You can see this, and the geolocation was confirmed again. Hold on, I'll just check his account because I don't want to show anything. Yeah, here you go. There's another one, and you can see the GPS coordinates of it. You can read the exact GPS coordinates of where it is. What can we deduce from the findings? This location is way too far away for Hamas operatives to show up and claim control of the point, and more importantly, way too dangerous for any organisation to set up aid distribution centre in, as the block was designated a dangerous fighting area with evacuation orders since May 26th. And you asked, did I see the NYC mayor things? Yeah, I did. I haven't watched all of them, but I guess we can watch some of that as well. There's quite a few things that I wanted to watch, to be honest, and have a look at. I just want to see if I can... there's quite a few things that, I wanted to look at. We can look at the Mamdani thing, because I guess it's the less important thing. Oh, yeah, there's been quite a serious event involving Israeli soldiers again. It's now confirmed that 4 are dead, not 5, but... Several Israeli soldiers were reportedly killed and wounded in an ambush east of Khan Yunis, where a booby-trapped building reportedly collapsed on their... sorry, I just want to pause this, because it's quite noisy, I know. East of Khan Yunis, where a booby-trapped building reportedly collapsed on their forces during a resistance operation. Israeli forces reportedly responded with heavy shelling and smoke bombs. Unverified reports suggest 5 soldiers were killed, and up to 11 and wounded in total, with the wounded evacuated from the scene in military helicopters. I'm surprised, I guess... One of the things is when the Russians were in Afghanistan, helicopters were one of the most effective means for dealing with like on the ground fighting. But unfortunately, the Americans sold loads of Stingers to the Mujahideen for like really reduced prices, Stinger missiles which could easily target helicopters, and they used them to shoot down Russian helicopters. But then all of the Stingers got basically, America then ended up fighting against the Mujahideen, and they gave out way too many Stingers, and so they had to get them back off people there. It's quite an interesting story, and then they just ended up selling back the Stingers, and the American government was paying more than they sold the Stingers for. They talk about it in Blowback on the season 4 Afghanistan episode. Sorry, I need to lift up my chair a bit. Just that's what one of the problems is as well today. I was just going to see... I saw this thing about the resistance ambush, but I don't know where I saw it. It doesn't matter, I can't find the actual post I was looking at earlier, but it's not the end of the world. They were searching for babies. What's Stingers? A Stinger is like an anti-aircraft weapon. Stinger missile. So this is what it is. You've probably seen them. They're in old Call of Duty games, I tend to remember. They're these things. So they're a surface-to-air missile that can be shoulder-fired by a single operator. So apparently, Reagan was given was it been Reagan? Yeah, Reagan was given a video of a Stinger being used and loads of Russians being killed, and like the Mujahideen kind of mutilating their bodies. And apparently he kept watching it with glee when he first got given it. But they sold all of these to the Mujahideen in Afghanistan, and then funding off. Yeah, funding or creating a group and later having to fight them is the American special, but perhaps it'll be the Israeli special, because Israel is funding ISIS-backed gangs. I'll talk about that in a second. Actually, we could talk about it now. Actually, no. Let's do the Zoran Mamdani thing, because that's quite interesting.
Donnie, can I just...
Oh, he won't visit Israel.
Mr. Mamdani, can I just jump in? Would you visit Israel as mayor?
I will be doing, as the mayor, I'll be standing up for Jewish New Yorkers, and I'll be meeting them wherever they are across the 5 boroughs, whether that's in their synagogues and temples or at their homes or at the subway platform, because ultimately we need to focus on delivering on...
Are they both really tall, or is this guy just like really, really short? He looks fucking bored. This guy's like intensely staring at him, waiting for him to praise Israel.
Their concerns.
And just yes or no, do you believe in a Jewish state of Israel?
I believe Israel has the right to exist.
Not
as a Jewish state?
No,
as a state with equal rights.
He won't, he
Not
won't
as a
say it
Jewish
has
state.
a right.
He's clearly not as based as his father, though, because his father, all of his work is basically premised on the idea that nation states are a failed concept and that none of them should exist. I've never read Citizens and Subject, and I've only read excerpts of Good Muslim, Bad Muslim. But his father really wrote one of the most informative books in my life, Neither Settler Nor Native. I'd highly recommend this. It has a great section on Palestine. So this is definitely written by his dad. Look, Mahmoud Mamdani, he has one child, Zohran Mamdani. But yeah, it's really good. So it begins with the Treaty of Westphalia is the standard, and then it moves on to basically talking about the expulsion of Jews and Muslims from Spain following the Reconquista as like the key moment. And it's really interesting. There's like loads of different chapters on different things. It's really good. It's a really powerful piece of work. It views relevant works of reconciliation by Checkhanter. I don't know what these comments are. Describes the book as an urgent intervention in contemporary politics and a Syrian critique of the nation state. However, she argues that Mamdani does not adequately address all forms of post-colonial violence. I mean, that's perhaps a fair argument from having read it, and I've not read enough of that kind of work. Yeah, that's his dad, but his dad, like, basically doesn't believe in the concept of nation states. And he talks about, like, what Israel is and what it means to be a Jewish state. He talks about these two really interesting cases that would be hard to remember because they're quite complex. But they're, like, about people... Actually, I'll see if I have, like, a Google Docs on it. Hold on. I was thinking about making a TikTok about this. The chapter in it about Sudan is really good as well. I'd highly recommend that. And the chapter about Nazism. To make being Jewish historically a central tenet of political... This is an excerpt from it. A central tenet of tenet of political modernity as it emerged from Europe is that the state exists to further and protect the interests of the nation. In Israel, the state exists to protect and further the interests of the Jewish, which constitutes Israel's permanent majority identity. Arguably the perfect expression of European political modernity, because it is both the product of the oppression of Jews under European modernity and a zealous enactment of European political modernity under colonial conditions. I just want to see if I can find it. He talks about Zionization a lot and de-Zionization of the state of Israel. No, he talks about apartheid and stuff. It's a really good book. I'd highly recommend it.
To exist as a Jewish state, be very
And
clear
his
on
answer
that.
was no, he won't visit Israel.
I said that.
That's what he was trying to say.
No. Unlike
No,
you, I
you
answer.
never-
Unlike
you
you, I
never
answer
said
questions
no.
very
Okay.
directly,
All right, I
and
think
I
we're
want to
clear.
be
You
very
answered-
clear. I
you answered-
believe every state should be a state of equal rights.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mamdani. Mr. Blake.
Mr. Mamdani.
Especially as someone who's visibly Muslim. I mean, yeah. And as well, like, trying to explain to someone, like, basically, what the problems of nation states when you're speaking to a general audience is pretty fucking hard. There's another follow-up as well.
Did not want to make a definitive statement on this. Do you support Israel's right to exist as a Jewish state?
I support Israel's right to exist as a state with equal rights. I believe that every
Why
state...
not as a Jewish state?
Because I'm not comfortable supporting any state that has a hierarchy of citizenship on the basis of religion or anything else. I think that in the way...
The only thing I would disagree with here is it's on the basis of ethnicity rather than What do you mean the concept is not universally recognized? In terms of what? What concept?
The way that we have in this country, equality should be enshrined in every country in the world. That's my belief.
All right, let's talk a little, because
But yeah, I mean, I can understand why he doesn't go into like a full-on explanation of why it's, yeah.
Mr. Cuomo?
Given the hostility and the anti-Semitism.
Cuomo?
Given the
fighting on...
Let's have a look at this one as well.
Given the hostility and the anti-Semitism that has been shown in New York, I would go to Israel.
Mr. Tilson, where would you go?
Yeah, I'd make my 4th trip to Israel, followed by my 5th trip to Ukraine, two of our greatest allies, fighting on the front lines of the global war on terror.
Mr. Mamdani.
I would stay in New York City. My plans are to address New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs and focus on that.
Have I been working out? I'm always working out, my man. You're right, Chris, but that's the way it's commonly framed for Americans. What do you mean? Sorry, I'm right about what? Sorry, you can tell I'm a bit out of it. You'll see this one. And they hit him with that at the very end out of left field. A proper response takes more time. Of course. And I'm not actually saying it's a bad response. I'll be honest with you.
Mr. Mamdani, can I just jump in? Would you...
It's just crazy, like, listening to basically, you're the mayor of fucking New York. His point is right, you know. Why do you have to go to Israel? Like, why is the mayor of New York? Is that like an integral thing of going to a state? You're not going to ask, are you going to Saudi Arabia? Are you going to the United Arab Emirates? Those are 2 countries that are, you know, very close with it. Like very close with the US and are very important to it. Ethan Klein had a very interesting, the line right to live as a Jewish state itself was insanely supremacist to me inherently. What about a Muslim state? Of course not. Yeah, and also, why is it that within a land that was historically mixed but predominantly dominated by Muslims, should there be a Jewish state? The only way a Jewish state can ever have existed there and came into fruition and being was through the ethnic cleansing of the indigenous inhabitants. It was not a Jewish state for 3,000 plus years, and it was never a Jewish state in the way it's understood in the modern era. So what the hell are you talking about? States didn't exist thousands of years ago, you know? Not nation states as we see them now. But Ethan Klein's take on this was incredible. And also, thank you very much, Treasure Trove. Incredibly kind support. It's so odd that they ask him as a Muslim man. It's not so odd. I mean, it's not so odd. Like, I understand, like, fundamentally, I'm asking a question that is like, I know why they ask that, because everyone has to worship at the state of Israel. You have to prove that you're pro-Israel. And it probably is quite hurtful for Mamdani if he doesn't appear pro-Israel enough, because obviously there's a big Jewish vote in New York, right? I don't know what the exact number of Jewish people who live there as a proportion of the whole of New York. I think I actually heard it the other day. Apparently 25% is the metropolitan area, which includes parts of New Jersey, and apparently they make up and in the New York City area is one of the largest in the world outside of Israel, with approximately 10% of the city's population identifying as Jewish. Well, it's more ethnicity in the project of Zionism. It's more colonialism as the basis for a state. Gaelic Pebble. Yeah. I think her perspective is the most interesting. Albanese's, how she talks about it. I did a TikTok about that. I think she's 100% right. I just want to see if I can find this fucking hilarious Ethan Klein. Yeah, here it is. Take it in, friends, the dumbest tweet of all time. No state has a right to exist, so Palestine doesn't have a right to exist? Further, why does it even matter if it's an ethno-state, if it doesn't have the right to exist at all? 24K pathetic brain-dead losers like this? At least we know the radical commies looking for a revolution are deliberately debilitatingly stupid. The status quo is secure. I don't even understand what this tweet is really about. Does Israel have a right to exist? Sorry, this post by Ethan, I understand what he's saying. Does Israel have a right to exist as an ethno-state? Is an insane question to ask the New York mayoral primacy. Laughing my ass off. Speaking of Gaelic, happy birthday to my fellow queers. Indeed, happy birthday to all of the queers. I feel like saying that as a straight person is pretty, it sounds pretty problematic. I need to change my display name to just Teddy. I keep forgetting. Don't worry at all. That's a shock when they heard a state with equal rights, like he said some Hitler shit. Exactly. And that's the funny thing. They're all just accepting the basic premise that Israel is currently not a state with equal rights, because that is clearly what Israel is. Yeah, I don't think Ethan does know what it means. I think you're right. I'll see what he's been fucking posting today, if he's posted any more about this, because he did have like a follow-up that didn't make much sense. Let's see if it's still up here. Oh yeah, it is still up. Now you got a pass. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm being homophobic. One of the first times I was streaming on Twitch, on TikTok, I said the British word for a cigarette, not realizing that everyone was on there, and they were like, "Why did you just say that?" Zog. Isn't Zog... I don't agree with the idea that the government is occupied by Zionists or controlled by Zionists. I think that the vast majority of Western politicians just support the state of Israel and don't wish to upset it. Of TWT discourse, the whole "I'm going to deliberately misinterpret your point and throw it back at you like your argument actually supports mine." Yeah, and I mean also, by the way, I've spoken about this before. The concept of Palestine as like an ethno-supremacist state is not really what Palestine is asking for. What the concept of Palestine is generally a rejection of the project of colonialism, imperialism, and racism. And so the demand for a free Palestine is a rejection of oppression as opposed to the establishment of as opposed to the establishment of, you know, like a Jewish supremacist state. And yeah, that's 100% true, Dreamer. I am always in Manchester attacking gay people. Epic Owned Bro, we'll just read his first. No state has the inalienable right to exist. It needs to justify its existence. Human beings have the right to exist. Furthermore, Israeli law explicitly assigns a hierarchical distinctions, but predicated on ethnicity. For example, the 2018 nation-state law, the fact that 93% of the land within the Green Line is exclusively reserved for Jews, the High Court saying that there is no Israeli nation separate from the Jewish people, and the 1950 law of return, which stipulates that any Jew anywhere in the world has the right to occupy Palestine, yet Palestinians are denied their right of return, as affirmed by UN General Assembly Resolution 194. What else do you call a state that codifies ethno-supremacy, if not an ethno-state? Common Ethan L. Shout out Overzealots for a good take. I mean, the nation-state law is fucking crazy, but I assume that this hit Ethan deeply, because Ethan is obviously someone who is a proof of that. Ethan is living, breathing proof of the ethno-supremacy of the state of Israel. Ethan, unlike all of the Palestinians whose family actually lived there, was able to go and become an Israeli citizen, not by virtue of marriage, but because he's Jewish. I mean, he still maintains that he is a Jew, like an Israeli. Except I never even said it's not an ethno-state, so who are you arguing with? I said Hassan is a fool for describing it as he did. Well, but he described it as an ethno-state. What did he do wrong? Wasn't historic Palestine a melting pot of the Abrahamic religions? This idea that Palestine is an ethno-state is insane to me. I mean, to some extent, it would have been dominated by Muslims for the longest time, but there were always people from the different Abrahamic religions, like Christians, different people who'd moved there, converted, lived there. And yeah, it's a good response. Gets framed as a religious conflict here in America. Maybe because we're devoted to the concept of religious liberty, so there doesn't seem to be a clear solution. I mean, I think in some senses I would dismiss the religious angle as reducing Palestine to exclusively religion. There is a certain element, though, especially that you see more and more, about how, like, Israel is and its fanaticism are indeed inspired a lot by, like, deep religious beliefs, like deep-seated religious beliefs that Israel has a right to Judea and Samaria. Salam as Engelistan. Kheli mo chakaram. Yeah, Jesus literally was born there. I mean, indeed. it is bizarre to not even try to walk back the ethno-state point, because it makes it seem like he doesn't care. I mean, I don't really understand. Once again, it's like Ethan's like, you changed the goalposts for what you're arguing about, but like, there's not really much coherency in what Ethan says. It was like earlier, I was just laughing about his fucking take about 9/11. It's so comical. It is terrible. I'm Lebanese and my little cousins are half Palestinian, and the Lebanese government will not allow my aunt to give her son's property. Why is that? Is that to do with the fact that they're not recognised as citizens? Also, Overzealots refutes that a state has a right to exist, and he then explains why. But of course, he ignores that first part. Indeed. I mean, but Ethan is just a Zionist. Like, Ethan is just straight up a Zionist, a major supporter of Israel's ethno-supremacy. And yeah, I better see some likes on the stream. That's all I'm saying. Or else there's going to be problems. Except I never even said it's not an ethno-state. We read that already. But you guys always show your ass by rushing to defend it's Ethan, an imbecilic scumbag for whatever a small amount of clout you get from a retweet, who is turning your entire movement into a joke by making you all look like terror supporters. Hassan is not turning the movement into a joke, Ethan. And also, I love how Ethan is clearly saying that he's separate from it, but we didn't need to be told that. Ethan is a scumbag who is, soliciting donations for the Atlantic Council. Like we all know he did this. Like, he's committing charity fraud, isn't it? Isn't that? Ethan is allegedly committing charity fraud by titling a section, Donate to Palestine, and then it's Donate to Ahmed Fouad al-Khatib, like an Israeli propagandist, and to help fund his Israeli propaganda operation. God, I just looked at all my cables down there, and they are so tangled. He couldn't divide 10 by 10 out of his head. Is that true? I saw someone talking about that. It's an Ethan. I'm so here for the. It's yeah. I mean, it's just true though. It's like I like the video, Cunty Munsey. Thank you. Ethan has an amphetamine brain. Who is turning? What did he say? Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if some of you were later revealed to be Mossad agents. That's the only way to explain the self-sabotage we're seeing on a daily basis. Like, he literally just had someone who worked for the US government on. And the only other people he has on are, like, Lonerbox, whose comment section... Lonerbox's comment section is really funny, by the way. I don't know if any of you have seen this. He's like, covering, he's just covering, like, he's covering, like, iDubbbz, sorry. Let's see, hold on. Let me just pull this up. I saw the iDubbbz Ethan thing, and it's just one of the reasons that I just don't want to cover Ethan anymore like that, because like all of these people like the comments on Lonerbox's video are fucking insane. Imagine if Israelis were only giving them Sabra hummus. Why would you post this today when it's old and the aid distribution is working well? Hamas is being challenged by a counterinsurgency. I forget the group name. By the way, he's talking about ISIS. Hold on. Yeah, I saw the California prison slavery thing. Didn't from Someone New Gamers make a video on iDubbbz. I don't care about like just getting sycophants to come on who was trying to sell merchandise and literally come on with the exclusive goal of you basically bring them on with the exclusive goal of just talking about personal information and just defaming them. He did it with Noah Sampson as well after trying to claim that Noah was like a rapist, you know. I'm going to keep it real with you. I don't think one aid station experiencing issues for a few hours one time is anywhere near the grounds to condemn the plan or treat it as a failure. By the way, in my new video, I'll talk about this. In my, one of the guys who headed the creation of the aid distribution, Eretz Wiener, like openly talks about expelling Palestinians from Gaza. But just look at this. Alona wasn't a standard WFP center overran a few days before this plan even started. How can you say these issues are unique to the new strategy? That's of course predictable, but isn't the way to manage the problem to push through the chaos, establish regular predictability, etc., so people can feel like they have a reliable system going forward? By the way, they are just talking about an aid plan that killed, like, you know, over 100 people in like 8 days, I think it was. It's kind of mad. It was, here's someone talking sense. You're just complaining. Give it time. There are only 4 distribution points. As Hamas gets pushed out more and more, there'll be more points. No instant fixes exist. Weird you don't get this. I always thought you were smart. There are literally so many exposés that literally say, I can literally, this was a plan intentionally cooked up by Israel and people within the Israeli administration who want to expel Palestinians. Yeah, he did claim that Noah was he tried to claim that Noah was a rapist and then walked it back, that basically Noah cheated on some girl he met from Tinder, and like, look, cheating isn't great, but human beings are fucking fallible, and like, basically exposing someone's personal drama like that is just weird. Here you go. By late 2023, the Israeli Defense Ministry unit that manages aid in Gaza, the Kogat, began formulating plans for humanitarian bubbles. Even though the Israeli planning was led by the Israeli military, 2 Israeli technology investors played an influential role. You can read this article if you really want. It's a good expose on it. And in my new video that's about to come out, I have like a slightly more detailed stuff involving Eretz Wiener and how this is like an Israeli plan to expel Palestinians. But like, here you go. I believe this is a military-backed aid strategy which has both military and humanitarian objectives. Which is, by the way, you can't do that with humanitarian aid. Like, it's just not acceptable. But yeah, like, of course, this is just like the people that Ethan brings on and the audience that they have cultivated. I mean, yeah, cheating isn't good, but it's a world away from assault. Indeed, cheating isn't good, and but human beings are fallible, and we work against our interests. We say that we want, you know, these long-term good relationships. We want to like live and be with people for our lives, but very often human enjoyment doesn't work in that way, and we move towards our own destruction. It's what Freud talks about a lot, you know, and I tend to agree with it very a lot, to be honest. But yeah, like. This is just a really weird comment as well. Like, when you have Ahmed Fouad Al-Khatib, who is like a big fan of Israel. This was also a bit weird. I don't know what Hila was doing there. Also, the Pootie Tang clothing allegations are never getting beaten because this video is so funny. I watched it earlier. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to just engage in personal drama, but fucking hell. Teddy Fresh looks like dog shit. There's so many clothes in there that's like, Jesus Christ. And I'm not like a fashionista. I don't really care about what I wear anymore. But yeah. Some Americans visited the Airbnb for a week. What do you mean? Liberal Zionists is not... I mean, look, if you just don't reject the state of Israel entirely, like, I just don't have much sympathy. Like, the state of Israel is an ethno-supremacist settler colonial project premised on expelling and marginalizing the indigenous people. There is actually one thing, I know we've talked about it before, but it's just so funny. It's honestly just such a funny video. I think it is genuinely worth pulling up.
I think there's also something else. I think there's a lot of generation.
The last thing my dad told me is it's hard to be at work to be a good person. I hold that with me, and I think that we all should. Indeed, because I think as human beings are unconscious. I think it's about taking a hold of your unconscious a lot, you know. I think you have to take a hold of your unconscious. People act as if your unconscious is like, Freud said that your unconscious was like this thing, like undermining you, that it was, you know, that we couldn't control it. But the whole point is that you should actually take a hold of it a lot more and realize that this is a thing that does matter.
Guilt with what happened in Iraq and how America's conducted itself since 9/11. And I think there's a huge...
I think there probably isn't enough generational guilt for what happened in fucking Iraq, you know? Or else we wouldn't be here with the Palestinian cause, you know? Because what happened in Palestine is, like, it's all part of the same system, you know? And it's not about generational guilt. And I love this take. I love this take, because what makes the take so fucking funny is that Ethan is like, I tweeted about this earlier, it's just like, did anything bad happen before that? You know, there was probably the real, like, wake-up point, because I don't think the Korean War had such a big anti-war movement, and especially not such a strong one. But I think that one of the key points that, like, which, you know, people began to be very concerned by American imperialism is specifically the case of Vietnam. The American invasion of Vietnam spawned a really big, like, anti-war movement, you know, where people took violent steps against the war. And yeah, like, it's crazy. It's crazy to sort of talk about Iraq in this way. Key to maturing. Yeah, I've heard it as monkey brain. I've heard someone talk about that. I wasn't so sure about it. I did need to read it. I did mean to read that because my dad actually said it's an interesting book. But I'm just very interested by the fact of, like, human beings, we all have this thing, and capitalism feeds into this lie so much. It feeds us this lie that we as human beings work towards this, like, idealistic future where we, like, have this money, where we get to live, like, you know, these couple, maybe 15 years where we're, like, free and we're able to do whatever we want, because that's generally when people retire. But it's just not true. We always do things that undermine that. Like, I don't know, sometimes people will cheat on their partners in long-term relationships inexplicably, and they'll be like, oh, why do I do this stuff? But truth be told, it's just because we don't have a hold of our unconscious in many ways, I think. I've always liked that kind of analysis.
Huge overreaction to that. Or
I mean, also, I hadn't even noticed this part the previous time we watched it. Referring to what happened in Iraq as an overreaction, when there were like 1 million people killed, is pretty fucking mad. And, you know, it was over a long period. And even before that, there's a lot more to Iraq that's really abhorrent. Because even if, you know, you're saying, like, Saddam Hussein had to go, right? Like, Saddam Hussein is not a good guy and not someone who should be moralized or, like, opined over, you know? You shouldn't be, like, saying, oh, I can't believe they toppled Saddam. Because Saddam committed genocide against the Kurds. His treatment of Kurdish people is fucking abhorrent. The Anfal campaign is barbaric. His policy of Arabization, of removing Kurdish people from certain areas, should never, ever, ever be sympathised with at all. Wait, what? When did Norman Finkelstein say the N-word? But, just on this topic, like, the whole of Iraq should be really relitigated, because we had no problem with supplying Saddam Hussein with chemical weapons. I've looked at these documents that they have in Exeter's archives, which are, like, Kurdish people writing and saying, hey, I'm, like, I feel very strongly about, I feel very negatively about, that there's, like, we are being subjected to atrocious things. I hate Ethan's bad faith arguments more than I hate Pokemon card scalpers. I realised I was looking through my old Pokemon cards when I was a kid, and loads of the stuff I had that were, like, as a kid were, like, just fake. But thank you very much for the donation. Wait, where? In the archives in Exeter, loads of the things in Exeter were just showing basically Kurdish people writing to the UK government saying, hey, there are really atrocious things being done against us by Saddam Hussein. Does he constantly say the N-word, or are you just saying nuclear?
Overreaction, who can say, right? But I think there is a large influence on young people's minds who grew up learning, like, this was a terrible thing that we did.
I feel like we literally have video games that are like, yeah, America is fucking awesome. We have so many movies, like, what are you fucking talking about? And even the ones that, like, opine what we did, very often, I say we, it's more Americans, to be honest. It is the British as well, but you see the media more from them. Loads of the media which just opines, it's like, oh, I got PTSD as a soldier and I'm suffering. I'm so sad that I shot these children with my sniper rifle. It's fucking mad to sit there and go, we're taught that we did such bad things. It's really, really, really crazy, you know. Absolutely crazy to sit there.
Millions of civilians died. It was all...
Well, I mean, I think that the West has really fucked over Kurds over and over again.
A lie, and it's become like civilians died. It was all a lie. And it's become like
the Iraq War was all a lie. Like, these are very serious things. And also, of course, because it's such a glaring example that happened within recent times where we had huge access to media that shakes the very fundamental of, you know, American society. It shakes the American dream. It shakes the idea that America promotes democracy. And most people will never go into the nitty gritty of how that is, like, so obviously false. But, like, the Iraq War is such a brazen example of, hey, like, you know, all of this is a lie. Alan Greenspan, I have put this in almost every video that I have said. Alan Greenspan, who was the chair of the Federal Reserve, said that I am sad that it is politically inconvenient to acknowledge what everyone knows. The Iraq War was largely about oil. This is the guy who was Alan Greenspan, the chairman of the Federal Reserve for 2 decades. He literally just said, yeah, this was about oil. Like, it's not like some... It's a reckoning in the sense of like, hey, you know, this is pretty fucking difficult to deal with because... it completely undermines everything.
It's become like American unexceptionalism. It used to be American exceptionalism.
But American, I don't really understand what he means here. Like, because why are you talking about American exceptionalism? American exceptionalism was a bad thing at the start. I think Alexis de Tocqueville wrote about American exceptionalism. And, hold on, I'll see if I can actually find my Google Docs about it. He wrote about it. He was like, yeah, they say they're a democracy, but they've just got, like, fucking slavery. Like, America literally views itself as the oldest democracy in the world when it had slavery and it was such an atrocious thing. What women weren't allowed to vote and all of these things. I can't actually find it. Maybe I could if I went through Forget Semitism, but I'm not doing that. But yeah.
Now it's everything in America is bad. It can't be salvaged. It's the worst. It's whatever it is, if it's American, it's the worst, it's unsalvageable, and we hate it. And
I mean, it's a very reasonable position, like, after you watch what it does. And also, this doesn't just pertain to Iraq. Like, look at what they did in Cambodia, man. Like, this is shocking to me, and I think that this is why more people need to listen to Blowback, especially the recent season. I did not know that when Vietnam invaded Cambodia to depose of the Khmer Rouge, right? Vietnam was fucking sanctioned for an aggressive invasion, even though basically what they were doing was displacing a regime that had murdered tons and tons of Vietnamese people. You could look to Vietnam, Korean War, anything that they have done. These are not good and moral things. Palestine is a really, really good example of this as well. Palestine is an example of the international community enshrining something that was going to cause problems for decades. If you genuinely believe that, like, oh, the West is exceptional, you're fucking foolish. Everything over and over again has proven that the West is unexceptional, and these narratives that have been deployed have only served to sow misery all over the world. The lies of spreading democracy, and for some people they are fucking hard to accept because they shake your very existence. That America is not just good, that your identity as a white Western male, you are not from this, like, amazingly developed, civilized place. It is shattering for some people, and that's why they retreat and run for it. Living within an identity that gives you that assures you in, like, a world that is in flux, that is uncomfortable, is very easy. And I was talking about this the other day. It is much easier to, like, basically confront refugees from the idea that, yeah, refugees, they're scary, they're all coming to take our jobs, rather than, hey, there is something really problematic going on in the world where people are having to flee so many different places, whether that is because of the climate, because of the lack of economic opportunities, and these things are only getting fucking worse. And of course, work into that Western interventionism. And, like, people would rather just retreat into identities of, like, no, we're civilized and these people are coming over and they're bad, rather than confronting, hey, the system is fucking really badly broken. Living within this world is so much fucking easier. Like, and that's the truth. And things like the Iraq war and all of this shake you to your core. They even shake a fundamental thing of, hey, the world isn't dominated by religion. Because George Bush said over and over again, we are going to do a crusade. It was very much couched in nonsense. And in fact, the countries where the hijackers came from, that wasn't dealt with. The hijackers' involvement and what they were doing in America, how they were somewhat protected by the CIA and FBI. Like, these things are fucking shaking.
These are people who are...
Sorry if I'm speaking too loud. I need to turn it down.
Coming up from affluent families. And I think it's them feeling generational guilt for what America has done since 9/11. And like...
It's not generational as well. It's pretty fucking active guilt. It's, thank you, Teddy. It's very active guilt in the sense of like, hey, in this time, America has, I will pull this up. Hold on, I just need to archive PH it. This is so after there was a military coup in Egypt, this is something that people wouldn't talk about. This is something that people wouldn't know, people wouldn't actually see, and it seems minor, but it's not. So on the 1st of August 2013, Abdel Fattah el-Sisi is in power, and he is praised by the US Secretary of State, John Kerry. John Kerry praises him for restoring democracy. 13 days later, or 12 days later, 1,000 Egyptians are massacred. It's like... it's not this generational trauma. This is like a minute thing that people wouldn't know about, which is shocking because this is like millions of people who live in Egypt who have to live under authoritarianism rather than an actual like decent democracy because the West wasn't interested in supporting someone who might have undermined their vision for the region. We have allowed atrocity after atrocity in Sudan. We have allowed atrocities to go on in Palestine, culminating in the current genocide. It is not a generational trauma from Iraq. It is a waking up and a confrontation with kind of, hey, Western imperialism is really, really bad. And what we have done is not going away. It is not changing. It is a sad reality that we live within that has to be changed through a direct confrontation that requires Westerners to wake up. Once again, I will say that Fanon quote from The Wretched of the Earth, where he says, the Europe needs to wake up and stop playing Sleeping Beauty. Thank you, Treasure Troves. The West doing what the West does. I mean, it's not some, like, Iraq is not some fucking outlier. Afghanistan was atrocious as well. The West sucked Russia into Afghanistan as part of the Cold War. It sucked them into it, and then, ended up creating a situation there that led to the Taliban coming to power, and then they got sick of the Taliban and deposed them. They tried to fucking set up an oil pipeline with the Taliban. Like, they had no problem with who and what the Taliban were. It was only after a certain point where they became no longer politically useful that they got rid of them. Oi bruv Chris, greetings and salutations, chat. I really do think the narrative is shifting. Ria co-worker randomly mentioned their suffering. Regular people are bringing it up. I think it is a good sign indeed. Thank you very much for your donation. And I do think it is, I do think people are changing, but it's just difficult, you know. I think it's difficult because the change needed to happen a while ago, but I think the change has been happening, but it's just, I wish it could have happened, you know. I wish it could have happened more quickly and strongly. Many people involved in the Free Palestine movement genuinely want America to change for the better, such as doing away with AIPAC and its influence. I mean, I agree with you, Coffee Lover. I don't think that we should have, like, these organizations that are just, like, American democracy is not working, right? Like, when your only choice in America is basically having two people, both of whom quite possibly were sex offenders in the case of Biden and Trump, and according to Elon Musk, Trump is a pedophile, but, like, your only choice are these two people. Does that sound like a really, like, good option? And it's not like it's a great place. And I think that the Free Palestine movement is a demand for liberation all over the world. It's not just about a Palestinian state, which kind of goes back to Ethan's point about, like, you know, this being generational and stuff. People wake up and see the interconnection between Iraq and all of these things. I do remember the Unpacked. I don't know if I'll get round to it because I've got a lot of stuff. I mean, also, like, Latin America is not my area of expertise, but look what's been done to fucking Cuba, you know? A place that stood for, like, better values in the world. Like, I'm sorry, you can say what you want about Cuba and authoritarianism there and how, like, bad things are, but, like, let's be frank, like, a lot of that is to do with horrendous sanctions inflicted on Cuban people, and what Cuba stood for around the world was objectively better, you know? They supported the Palestinian cause and stood against the and stood against the South African state when the West was like, here, South Africa, more money for apartheid, more money, do apartheid. And I think also, I stopped framing it like this, but I think it's important to talk about. We were always told growing up, or at least I was, obviously I'm quite a bit away from it, the ending apartheid was this significant thing, that the West enshrined in international law that apartheid was wrong, immoral, and unjust. And yet, you know, how many years are we post-apartheid? 30 plus years after the end of apartheid? All we're fucking left with is just more apartheid, you know? More apartheid and misery. It is an ongoing process that seemingly never ends. It's so endearing that you apologise for your long-winded responses as if it's not one of the very reasons we are here in the first place. I know, I kind of just worry that I kind of end up just like talking without ever actually covering much. But thank you so much, Treasure Trove, and everyone who's donating. Thank you so much for making, like, doing YouTube possible. And all the people watching as well. Thank you for making this, like, a possible. And yeah, you're right, the stash is going very strong. It's very, very strong. Exactly, Cuba, and I mean Cuba are resilient people, but Cubans have suffered, you know, and I think I was listening to someone talking about this with Palestine. I think that there's a lot of suffering in the world, and we shouldn't, like, basically valorize it. Like, the things that Cubans have been subjected to as a result of America is ridiculous. And that's an ongoing process. Like, what does Ethan mean? Colonialism didn't end that long ago, and in my opinion, it never really ended.
Like, again, that's an understandable feeling and perspective, but I think it's dangerous when a bunch of young people who have no life experience and no.
What is actually Ethan's life experience? Living in a genocidal settler colony?
Frankly, actual perspective. Get so convicted by things that it draws them to radical behavior. And I think that's just what's happening, unfortunately.
It's like, man, I think that people are so upset seeing a direct genocide in front of their eyes. Like, I think that that's just the truth of it. New computer fan, thank you, Coffee Lover. I should be able to just get one at this point. I think it's stupid to call it generational guilt towards Z, when we were told all our childhoods that Iraq was... Exactly, you're told all your childhoods that there are evil baddies around the world, that the West confronts them, that Iran is responsible for all the chaos and misery in the Middle East. You're never told that we're allied with a dictatorship who brings misery to so many people. You know, that brings misery to so many people. It's ridiculous. Like the UAE, Saudi Arabia, we're not confronted by that. I know, you know. Exactly. I actually, you know what, Nuquin? I tend to agree with you. The Iraq War was Western values, in the same way that Pete Hegseth, you know, the guy who's a drunk, who's like talking about killing Muslims, who's got a kafir tattoo as opposed to kafir, not like the Palestinian headwear. And like Deus Vol, all of these like white supremacist adjacent tattoos and stuff. I think he is just indicative of what Western society really is, especially America, like a drunken moron. We very much like your moustache and your talking. Thank you. The people love it. The people love the moustache. His kids are going to hate him later in life. Yeah, I mean, I think that I wonder that. I wonder if his kids will grow up and say, hey, Israel is really wrong and immoral. Because he sort of claims it, but, like, he just doesn't talk about it properly, you know. Yeah. Ethan believes Israel is more diverse. Did he say that? On video on them. What, you think a full-on video? But there's so many unpacked videos to talk about. But thank you very much, Sunflower Dragon. And you speak for everyone. You should dye the stash rainbow for Pride Month. I'm actually a bigot, so no, that won't be happening. I just wanted to look at this because it looks quite interesting. So this is a map of evacuation orders posted by Forensic Architecture. They do like a architecture of genocide. It's quite interesting. Israel has designated the majority of the Gaza Strip for evacuation. 34 evacuation orders have been issued to civilians in Gaza since the dissolution of the ceasefire on 18th of March 2025. Many of these orders define differing boundaries for the militarized buffer zone in the east of Gaza, gradually expanding the area designated for evacuation. By the way, this is just a plan to move Palestinians into a tiny area where they can't live, to expel them. This is openly what they're going to do. This is just a forensic architecture thing. I might slow it down because this feels a bit quick. So they're just showing, like, look at these. Critical support to LGBT. Go vote. Chris Gunsler. Indeed. But indeed, thank you very much, John Brown. And one of the only British donators. So thank you very much. The British have been letting us down. Their presence in the chat is somewhat also smaller than you'd imagine. I think, at least. But yeah. Just look at these. And also, by the way, someone noted it. It's called the Morag plan to segment Gaza. Look at the segmentation of Gaza. So it's reducing it to a way smaller space. Look at these evacuation orders. And then look at like this final point of like, here we are. Look at this. There's just part of Gaza City completely cut off. We've documented, for instance, where the declared boundaries of the buffer zone have subsumed areas previously subject to evacuation orders. As of June 3rd, the buffer zone has expanded to encompass the municipality of Rafah. This is literally just... Also, I'm not expecting you to donate at all. You please don't worry about donating. I don't expect you to. Being here and watching is like the main thing consistently, and supporting my content that way. Do not ever feel obliged. I was more just making a comment that the British it tends to be much more... it tends to be much more Americans, but I think that there's just many more Americans who watch me on this platform, and I'm like so glad to be away from TikTok. I've got to be honest, like I'm just glad to be moving away. 6th of April buffer zone. Alt Skeptic, I got you. Pay me back anytime. Thank you again, Coffee Lover. Donating on behalf of Alt Skeptic. Wait, oh, I thought you said religion. God, that shows you how bad I am at reading. Wait, hold on. Let's just have a look at that again. God, look at this. That is just not... You know, Gaza was one of the most densely populated places on Earth before this. Now it is horrifically dense. Like, they've just ethnically cleansed huge parts of it. Got you, comrade. Skeptic. Thank you all for your donations. Is Chris even old enough to remember Thatcher? No, fuck no. I mean, I remember her, and I remember people talking about her because my family are from the north of England, so I remember like a part of that. I'm just obviously not very northern. For example, an evacuation order was issued to the municipality of Rafah on the 31st of March and 1st of April. In an evacuation order issued on 6th of April, the declared buffer zone expanded to encompass the areas previously designated for evacuation. Just also, like, this is just such a big historic part of Palestine. This is such a big part of Palestine, you know? And it's just been wiped away by the state of Israel. It's just been wiped away by the state of Israel. Rafah that existed for thousands of years. It's just insane. Chris is the same age as my daughter. What, 24? I'm almost 25. I'm a quarter of a century. But yeah, it's just like so much culture and history being wiped away by the state of Israel. And by the way, this isn't done for military necessity. This is being done for the exact reason of removing Palestinians from their historic homeland and making life impossible there. That's the point. It's not like it's not for like any good reason, you know. I'm just seeing if I can find anything quickly. There's a clip that I actually want to watch on here from Leftovers H3. What's the final one? Over time, the buffer zone has grown, placing more and more areas under Israeli military control. This gradual encroachment facilitates the widespread destruction and clearing of civilian infrastructure and the construction of military infrastructure, such as the Morag corridor in Rafah. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous and disgusting. But of course, it's Israel, so Israel's just allowed to do disgusting and despicable shit like this. Like, it's just how it operates, because they're the state of Israel. There's so many stories to get through today. I've got so many bizarre ones. I wonder if we'll even get through the Ethan one. I just wanted to watch this because my Tony Soprano lover told me that this Neve Gordon's work is really good. God, I don't want it to... Reddit is such a shitty platform.
Assault on Gaza, the genocidal assault, including the decimation of its medical system, including the killing of 1,400 health workers, including the detention and disappearance of 400 medical doctors and healthcare workers, including the torture of detainees, has been supported by the Israeli medical establishment through and through, whether it's from the top, the Israeli Medical Association, that represents 95% of Israeli...
No, I'm born in October. Yeah. I'm born in October. But the whole thing is that, like, the whole thing with all of this is, and what he's saying here is, I just cannot believe the thing, and I shouldn't be surprised. But the thing is that 2 Israeli Supreme Court judges are members, are West Bank settlers. The deputy president of the Israeli Supreme Court, that democracy whose laws separate it from the Palestinians, one of them lives in the fucking West Bank. 2 of them do, sorry. It's mad. It is genuinely mad to think about. Like, people use this as like a framing of why Israel is acceptable and justified and why it's so good and moral, but it's just not fucking true, isn't it? It's just not true.
Doctors, the other healthcare associations, including the Nursing Association and the Psychological Associations and their ethical committees. We found that hospitals did not accept Palestinian detainees who were wounded and needed medical.
Yes, indeed. Shout out Tony Soprano, lover. I'm glad that they're getting a warm welcome.
Care. We found that doctors inside hospitals were unwilling to treat Palestinian.
Tony Soprano, lover, deserves a big shout out because they're a massive help with my content.
Detainees, or did not demand that the shackles from their legs and their arms and their blindfold be removed.
I'm sorry, the only thing I'm having trouble with is the sort of, the vocal fry, is that what you'd call it? It's very bizarre. It's not the nicest, but what he's talking about is very reasonable. It's very reasonable what he says, and yes, I am a Libra. And what he's talking about here is mad, you know, that the Israelis like torture Palestinians, that they don't allow them to remove shackles and all of these things until their limbs fall off.
Moved before they were
No, I am a Libra.
We found that doctors did not provide pain.
2 members of the Knesset are members of... I can't remember their names. I have forgotten them already. If you want to go and find them, you can see them in my recent video, Is Europe Really Turning Its Back on Israel? The deputy president is definitely one. Actually, I will just look it up. Noam Solberg is one. Here's a Haaretz article about it. The Israeli justice who violates international law every time he comes home. Like, are you really surprised that Israel's doing genocide? Are you really surprised?
Killers to Palestinians, claiming that they should suffer from the pain. We found doctors in Israeli hospitals that...
That's the only lie. Tony Soprano never had the makings of a varsity athlete.
Posted genocidal messages.
I've told the public my birthday before. It's not the end of the world. It's I've posted it before. I'm not the end of the world.
On their private social media accounts, we found persecution of medical doctors and nurses, Palestinian medical doctors and nurses in the Israeli establishment. So there's a whole system, the whole medical establishment inside Israel has been actually supporting Israel's assault on the Palestinian people and particularly on its healthcare system.
That's a very, very interesting. That's a very, very interesting video. Sorry, there's just a BBC video here. BBC doing some average journalism. Well done, BBC, for finally doing this right things. The Israeli military has... No, I've posted it. I've posted it multiple times. The only reason I don't post when my birthday is anymore is because I did it on the first year I created content where I had a birthday. And so many people messaged me saying, "Happy birthday, Chris." And it was just a bit overwhelming. And my DMs were just filled with happy birthdays. And so it was like, oh, I don't necessarily want to tell people. Yeah, wait, Chris, how old are you? Are your birthdays... Our birthdays are so close. I was born in 2000. So apparently the strike took place on Sunday, hours after 31 Palestinians were killed. While reviewing the footage purporting to show the incident near the aid distribution centre, BBC Verify identified a separate strike in the city near Khan Yunis. The blast was not previously announced by the IOF. It was only when approached by BBC Verify that the IOF admitted that it carried out an artillery strike and said the incident was the result of a technical and operational errors. Oh, I won't actually show this. Just in case. It's not being too popular. I'm 2 days older. My birthday's in October the 15th. The IOF rarely acknowledges such errors. A BBC Verify analysis statements on the IOF's official Telegram account could only find four previous instances of it admitting to making a mistake. So the wrongfully hit the Mawasi area. So Israel just... I mean, this is just mad. It's mad when you can just claim that, like, a wrongful hit is just, acceptable. That a wrongful hit is just a mistake. It's not fucking acceptable. It's not mistakable at all. So, the other thing that I wanted to talk about before we get on to the David Mensa fucking interviews and Israel backing ISIS is this. This is one of the most bizarre stories that I've ever seen. So we'll start with the videos because they are so fucking weird.
Are you still handicapped? What's that? What do you want? Hi, how you doing? I didn't know U of M had special needs kids. I didn't know people...
This video is so bizarre, and the reason I'm laughing is because this guy doesn't have special needs. He is surveilling students for protesting on campus, and he then goes on to make a joke. He then goes on to make a joke about about the guy being disabled himself.
Oh, whatever. That was actually really dumb.
He goes, "Oh, I didn't really..." But look at this one.
What was that? I obviously got you now. You too. You got me doing what? I heard you. Step back. You can cover your face. Oh, I'm you see my arm?
I'm feeling.
You see the
I'm being
extra
threatened.
space?
He's threatening me. He's threatening me.
And this lady, you want to follow me
wants my
too?
wallet. He wants my wallet.
You're right.
This is also an insanely racist statement because the guy is black and he just goes, "He wants my wallet. He wants my wallet." So, what this is the University of Michigan. So the University of Michigan has been caught paying people to surveil Palestinians. Where's the failed protesters? I think... Look at this! The undercover investigators appear to work for Detroit-based City Shield, a private security group, and some of their evidence was used by Michigan prosecutors to charge and jail students, according to a Guardian review of police records, university spending records, and video collected in legal discovery. Most charges were later dropped. Public spending records from the University of Michigan Board of Regents, the school's governing body, show the university paid at least $800,000, $800,000 to surveil people. This is insane. It's insane. Like, they paid, like, apparently one of these people was saying, like, they followed them round, recorded conversations and all of these things. $3 million spent on security. $3 million. And by the way, you have all of these Zionists who are like, I'm scared on campus because of the protests. That the universities are literally the people whose duty of care it is to look after students. They are literally spending hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of dollars to surveil people for fucking protesting. And like, you hear like, do you remember? I remember during the thing where like Ethan was like mad because Hassan laughed at some like pro-Israel student who was like whining about their safety on campus. Like, none of these people aren't safe. The universities have their backs. It does everything for them, whilst it intentionally targets pro-Palestinian students. It's like, it's so ridiculous. Like, they spend all of this money. And I bet there are loads of students who are out on their asses, like, fucking struggling. And there's just they're just like, nah, you know what? Here's $3 million that we just needed to spend on fucking private security and targeting people who are upset about genocides. It's ridiculous. It is utterly ridiculous. Like, honestly, this is one of the craziest stories. I'd recommend you read it. But, like, they talk about this. The students got charged. They were followed round. They were filmed. Shared with The Guardian shows Walker approaching another person who had been recording him from a car. It turned out to be the same man from a Bangladesh protest. Like, it's so weird. He counted 30... Walker has been among the most heavily surveilled for reasons that are unclear. He counted 30 different people following him before he stopped keeping track last year. I mean, America is increasingly a dictatorship that wants to silence dissent. And part of the reason is because if they build up a project that is... if they build up like an authoritarian project, you want to target any form of dissent. And stuff around Palestine is, of course, dissent, you know, that needs to be prevented and dealt with and ensured that nothing comes out of it, basically. And so surveilling students is really not that surprising. It's really not that surprising. Mass surveillance of students who've built like a movement against, you know, who are like building a genuinely anti-imperial, anti-authoritarian movement. You want to target those first. People now have experiences of protesting. It's crazy. It's crazy. And Exeter's now engaging in similar shit. You have to have every protest approved by the university. You can't protest inside anymore. It's like, yeah. It's so ridiculous. And also, by the way, just to go quickly back to the, like, Iraq war stuff. It's not a fucking generational trauma. This is still ongoing. Tony Blair's son, Nick Blair, is raising $20 million for his fucking... for like an arms firm. There's still nepotism going on from his dad being a genocidal pig. I'm a Leninist who owns guns. I mean, in the UK, I can't endorse that. I don't know if I actually could, because obviously we don't have guns in the UK. It shows how afraid they are. Indeed, it's because the pro-Palestine movement was genuinely like young people standing up for something, recognising the intertwined nature of, these genocides that go on abroad and Western imperialism. Like, it's not some big fucking secret, you know? It's not some big fucking secret. But young people woke up and they saw it. They organised sustained protests for well over a year that is still ongoing. And this is just the truth of it. The Trump administration needs to target them directly because of it, you know? Right, we've now got some exciting clip stuff to watch, unless I can just see if anything has happened in recent... I just want to check if there's been any major developments. Oh, actually, this Gaza Humanitarian Foundation thing's pretty fucking crazy. Oh, maybe I didn't see that correctly. Maybe I didn't see that close. I can't actually find what I'm looking for. It's okay. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. I genuinely hate him weaponizing therapy speak of generational trauma of most Americans. Real people have generational trauma. Exactly. It's really, really, really just a bizarre thing to weaponize. It's fucking ridiculous. It is utterly fucking ridiculous that is the kind of thing that he is weaponizing and just talking about. Like, he doesn't give a shit about Palestine. The truth is that Ethan wants to sit pretty and support the state of Israel whilst also getting away from the worst excesses of people condemning him by literally going, oh, well, I think there's a genocide, but never acting on that, you know? Right. We're going to watch something that I have not watched all of. I've only seen a bit of it, and it seemed quite funny. A bit of it. I sound very British there. A bit of it. Sorry, my stomach today is going crazy.
Well, a short while ago,
so here's Christian.
I spoke to the Israeli government spokesman, David Mensa. David
This guy looks like a fucking Sontaran from Doctor Who.
Mensa, the IDF has admitted shots were fired this morning. Why is Israel firing at people who you have told it is safe to go and collect aid when they are desperate for food?
First things first, Krishnan, we're trying to divorce Hamas from the aid distribution system because Hamas were taking the aid, profiting the aid. You know, they were charging poor, hungry Gazans.
It's actually mad because I talked about this in my new video. But the thing is that this guy, right? This guy was the chair of the Labour Friends of Israel So he was like a chair of like a Labour organisation in the UK, the supposedly left-wing party, and he's now a fucking spokesman for Netanyahu. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. But when he's like saying this, Israel cultivated an environment. Hold on, I'll see if I'll just pull this up because the problem. This is the guy who leaked that Netanyahu was. This is the guy who leaked that Netanyahu was like funding an ISIS-backed organisation. He's fucking, and I've told you before, this guy beat up a child. That's like one of the most famous things he does. So this guy will go. It's like this really perverse, self-sustaining cycle. So Israel goes, oh, aid is being looted and sold at extortionate prices. Now, Avigdor Lieberman just fucking leaked yesterday, which, by the way, the state of Israel just said which, by the way, by the way, the UN had noted was stealing aid anyway, this guy, Yasser Abu Shabab. So what he said was that Netanyahu has been arming crime families in Gaza. Israel has provided assault rifles and light weapons to crime families in Gaza on Netanyahu's order, he said. The weapons are being transferred to criminals and offenders and are being directed at Israel. In my opinion, it did not pass cabinet approval. The head of Shin Bet knows. I'm not sure the chief of staff knows. We're talking about the equivalent of ISIS in Gaza. He added, no one can guarantee that these weapons will not be directed at Israel. We have no way of monitoring or tracking them. Israel is working to defeat Hamas in various ways on the recommendation of all heads of the security establishment. It's fucking mad. There have been several reports in recent months of, here you go. Citing unnamed defense sources, the Times of Israel reported that the weapons Israel provided Abu Shabab's gang included some that Israeli forces seized from Hamas during the war. Hamas officials told Reuters Abu Shabab was wanted for collaborating with the occupation against his people. The officials said Hamas fighters had killed at least 24 of Shabab's men before January. They had allegedly, after they had allegedly looted trucks. Al Jazeera's Anas al-Sharif reported in early May that Israeli forces attacked shopkeepers and local Gaza security teams who were attempting to protect shops from looting and chaos. This is all part of the genocide as well. They have ensured that there is chaos, that there is no one controlling aid, and they did this intentionally. Let me see if I can pull this up. I can pull it up. God, my hay fever today. My mouth itches. So, the UN named in this article in November 18th last year that Yasser Abu Shabab, the guy being funded and allowed to do this by Israel, is the key man who is looting. He's the key figure doing the looting. And operating from the eastern part of Rafah, Abu Shabab heads an outfit of about 100 thugs who attack trucks bringing food and other supplies to Gaza, Nahad Shuhaiba said. He describes how the gangs set up berms to wait... Berms? What the fuck's a berm? I've never heard the word berm. It means a raised barrier. Wow, I've never heard that. This is a fork found in the kitchen because Bibi helped fund Hamas back in the day to destabilize. Yeah. Well, it wasn't actually funding Hamas initially. What it much more was allowing them to function in an unimpeded sense in Gaza. And yeah, the most amount of chaos to destabilize Hamas, to increase famine. And it's so perverse that, like, people who support the state of Israel are like, Hamas loots aid and do all of these bad things. And it's just like, hey, this is literally what your government wanted. This is literally what the government that you support wanted and did in Gaza. Goodbye, City. Where's City going? Gotta go now. Oh, got it. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. But please don't talk. Maybe you're allergic to the caterpillar on your upper lip. Right, that's it. You're getting... That's a 2-year timeout. You won't be able to talk to me ever again because you have insulted the moustache. Tony Soprano level, let the banhammer ring. But yeah, they literally talk about, a UN internal memo talks about how this guy is massacring people like massacring truck drivers. They are shooting truck drivers who get beaten. And here's Mr. Sontaran claiming otherwise.
To get this food, we're divorcing the two subjects of Hamas and aid distribution to allow...
Good news that you like caterpillars.
Hungry Gazans to get the food directly, to be able to feed their families in an orderly way. Now, to the
in an orderly way, you managed to kill 100. You managed to kill over 100 people in such a short period of time. The poll is law. Exactly. Treasure Trove Tales knows. Thank you for your donation because you know, you all fucking know. You all know.
Event this morning, Tuesday. The IDF have said that as crowds move along the designated routes towards a humanitarian aid distribution point in northern Gaza, Israeli soldiers identified several of those people. They left the approved access route. The incident occurred approximately 500 meters, half a kilometer from the distribution site, and
breaking news. Hungry, starved people who've been subjected to psychological distress of constantly being denied food and being starved for months on end behave not in the exact way that is expected of them. Who would have ever seen this happening? Wow. They moved slightly in the incorrect direction. Only option, massacre them. Simple as.
After issuing warnings, audio, verbal warnings, warning shots were fired in the air, and unfortunately, some of these suspects continued advancing towards our troops in a threatening manner, and so further fire was directed near. No, where there are people desperate for food, we want them to get the food. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. We're trying to get the food to the individuals.
Were they armed?
The IDF will be able to answer that question directly, but let me tell you, our intention is to get as much food to ordinary Gazans.
And also, by the way, this whole plan, as I say, was concocted by Israel to basically expel Palestinians.
In the video of the incident on Sunday... The IDF have already released that video, and it showed as clear as daylight...
That's a totally separate incident, David.
Right, well, but this is very, very important.
No.
I also just love he's just doing this here. Like, that's what you should say. You posted fake videos. And then, by the way, look at how this guy relies on it. Like, it's false. It's false propaganda.
That's a totally separate incident in a different place.
No, it's not.
And there's no evidence that was even Hamas.
2 days before. It's 2 days before, and these are Hamas gunmen firing on their own people, Christian.
You don't know that.
Why they're doing that?
There's no evidence for that. And it's in a totally separate incident. Let's keep it to what happened this morning. Let's keep it to what happened this morning. Was anybody armed? Did anybody fire at the IDF?
We can't separate the two. We can't separate the two. Now, the IDF...
Yeah, it's just mad that this, like, freak moves over to Palestine and then works to justify the extermination of the indigenous people. And I'm meant to believe that he's the indigenous one. Got it, right. Yeah. He's definitely the one who's, like, normal and moral.
Said they were advancing in a threatening manner, and obviously they felt their lives were
What does that mean?
under threat.
I haven't watched this. I hadn't watched this far into it, where he just says, "What does that mean? Their lives were under threat. Oh no, the hungry people."
The IDF operates under international law, not Channel 4 law, international law. And that's why it's very important. The details of this case are very important. Now, the IDF is aware of these.
Is he gay?
Reports and also of casualties, and they are reviewing the incident. But look, a couple of things are clear. We are not preventing the arrival of Gazans. The opposite. We want more humanitarian aid sites, and we want more Gazans to collect that food. We're encouraging it. Now, these warning shots were fired
David,
away from the aid distribution plant.
Desperate people who have been starved for weeks.
It's actually more than 2 times.
Have been shot at while trying to collect aid. You are terrifying the population of Gaza even more. They're too scared now to go to collection points because they know they could be shot at by the IDF.
So that is precisely the Hamas rhetoric that
No, someone said in chat he was gay. I don't know if there's any truth to it.
they want you to publish.
It's the fact of
clear,
what's happening.
And also, by the way, this is exactly what fucking Traveling Israel said. Guys, I'm really sorry. I may actually have to go. My stomach, I've never experienced this before. My stomach is in so much pain. I'll see how I feel shortly. I'm really distracted by it. I've literally, in my lifetime, I've never experienced anything like this. I have no idea what is currently causing this. It, like, really, really hurts. So I'll keep on watching for a bit and see if it goes away, but like, I am struggling right now.
Israel
more than
is
50
not,
people are
no, that's
dead.
not the facts, Christian. You have got the facts wrong, because we've already shown you video of Hamas firing on their own people, because this is the last hand.
I'm not gonna go. It's not even that I need to go to the bathroom. It is just like my stomach is in serious pain. Hold on one second. I'll just get up and walk around and see if... God, Jesus Christ. No, it wasn't even that. My stomach is in so much pain. I don't know what it is. I don't know what this is. I have not experienced anything like this. Walking around helped a little bit, but oh my God.
We released it on Sunday evening.
That is a totally spurious video. It's a spurious video of a different incident.
What, the video?
Yeah, I took a piss in the corner of my room and that made me feel better. And I shit myself in the corner as well.
A different
Hamas
place.
firing... No, the video of Hamas firing on their own people trying to get hold of aid is spurious, is it? I think it's...
This video is so funny as to like choose to like to be obsessed with, because the thing is that it's so provably false.
There's no evidence that was Hamas or it was at the same incident.
Okay, that's slightly ridiculous. Sometimes, Christian, you actually advocate for Hamas, and I must say it's bizarre.
No.
It's reached like such a depraved point at this point. It has reached such a depraved point of just that narrative is Hamas, like basically just denying, well, no, just stating a material fact.
That's
Because
offensive,
Hamas are
David. And you really shouldn't say things
It is
like that.
offensive to
It's
Israel.
just attacking the media.
It is offensive to
and
Israel.
It's a talking
because you...
point, and it just shows you're avoiding the question. The question is...
I'm not avoiding the question.
This aid
I'm
operation
precisely
that you
arguing...
are... This aid operation that you are operating now is ineffective. The UN one worked, and you have stopped the UN distributing aid.
The opposite is true.
It was the UN who were distributing aid, not Hamas.
The opposite is true, Christian. Over 7 million...
It's okay, don't worry about my stomach, it's fine.
Meals have been delivered in 1 week. Aid is reaching civilians, but not Hamas. This is their last hand. Hamas's last hand.
The Kunzlering, yeah, that's exactly what it is.
On the neck of... The last hand on the neck of Gaza's people. We're breaking that link. We've even produced a woman-only aid lane, which was launched today.
They've gone woke. They've gone woke. DEI women's only lane,
which is protecting vulnerable populations amongst Gazans. Look, Reports where there are injuries are going to be investigated, but we've shown already with video Hamas doesn't want this to work.
David. They're not just
Hamas
injuries.
doesn't.
I mean, there's a pattern here, is the trouble, of you saying things and Israel saying things that turn out later to be untrue. And that...
I don't know where his neck is. Hamas took his neck. Hamas took his neck.
That's clearly what's happening here as well.
So that is what Hamas wants you to think.
It's actually mad. Like, this is genuinely, like, imagine if someone was just like, this is what Jewish people want you to think. Like, the Jewish people were spreading this, like, narrative. And also, I think they'd actually say it was anti-Semitic if someone said, this is what Israel wants you to think. Like, Israel just spreads lies and such. This is not like a reality. It's just finally being challenged on the bullshit that they say and they cry.
We have developed a new system to separate... No, it's not the fact. The facts are that 7 million meals have been given to hungry Gazans. That's the facts. Over 7 million meals delivered in 1 week. That never happened under the former system because Hamas stole the aid. Then they extorted their own people. They charged them money. No Gazan should be charged money for aid which they deserve.
Has anyone seen where this 7 million meals came from? Hold on. My stomach actually feels fine now. I don't know what the fuck that was.
Yeah. Why would...
At the same time, we did not expect... Here you go. Right, so they claim to have distributed 7 million meals. So that means they've provided 3 meals... They haven't even managed to provide... They've managed to provide just over 3 meals for every Palestinian in Gaza, but they haven't provided basically any for the north of Gaza.
Which is due to them because they are hungry. Hamas was using those funds to sustain this war.
Most
We're
aid
breaking that
was
link.
given out
We're
by the
breaking that
United
link.
Nations, and people were not being charged for it. Now the United
Most
Nations Secretary
aid
General,
was stolen.
who is a man who's respected...
Again, once again, this sadistic cycle of just basically going, aid was stolen by people we backed in areas that we controlled. It's crazy.
all over the world,
he's not respected.
has called for
He's
an
not
independent
respected.
investigation.
No, I'm sorry.
Will
The
you
UN is
allow
not
an
respected.
independent investigation? It
No,
is
the UN
around
is
most
not
of the world,
respected.
maybe not in Israel. So
Every
are you rejecting
single
an independent
Gazan
investigation?
terrorist, every single Hamas terrorist which attacked us on October the 7th was a graduate of a United Nations education. Now, you cannot tell me that...
It's also just such a perverse thing to say, because it's not... Even then, it wasn't the education that they received that shaped it. It was the reality in which they existed and lived, which is a settler colonial society in which they're denied the right to live their life freely and to, you know, live, basically.
The UN is a respected organization. They have unfortunately perpetuated this conflict. They should be humanitarian.
Well, you
we
may not
want them to
respect
be
the UN,
humanitarian.
but are you
we have begged
rejecting...
them. We have begged
This is
them
not
to be
just the UN
humanitarian.
calling for this.
But they
Are you
they wish to
rejecting an
sustain
independent
Hamas's
investigation?
leadership. They wish to sustain Hamas.
It's just this guy is like genuinely insane. And also, by the way, there's no guarantee that they all went to UNRWA schools. There are like schools that are not UNRWA in Gaza.
Leadership, and we are not.
And generally, actually, people who are Gazan, so people who are genuinely from the Gaza Strip, who weren't expelled there, tend to go to these different schools.
Listen, when the British Army
I condemn his massive forehead.
is accused of doing misdemeanors, there is no independent investigation. There is an internal investigation.
Two wrongs
That's
don't
what
make a
all
right.
democracies do. No, because it's double standards.
What did you just say? But are you
We have begged
rejecting-
them. We have
This
begged
is
them
not
to be
just the UN
humanitarian.
calling for this.
But they
Are you
they wish to
rejecting an
sustain
independent
Hamas's
investigation?
leadership. They wish to
Are
sustain
you
Hamas's
rejecting an
leadership,
independent
and we
investigation?
are not. Listen, when the British Army is accused of doing misdemeanors, there is no independent investigation.
There is no investigation.
There is an internal investigation.
Two wrongs
That's
don't
what
make a
all
right.
democracies do. No, but
And look, the British Army is bad, and throughout its history, it's done far more than Israel ever has. Like, just because of the length that it endured, the scale and the scope of it. But At the same time, in recent years, the amount of crimes that Israel have committed and perpetrated and failed to invest and hold anyone to account for is fucking insane.
Because it's double standards, Krishnan. That's what you're guilty of. Different rules apply to Israel. Is it because we're Jewish?
Is it because we're Jewish? It's so insane. But like, okay, yeah, the UK has done some fuck shit and so's America, and they're not held to account, but lots of people demand that as well. There's not different rules being applied to Israel. We just want to see it applied to Israel and his allies.
Christian, is that why you think there are special rules which apply to this country, the only Jewish country?
Well, the British Empire is still being kept alive and well by this guy.
No, I'm saying there are calls all around the world for an independent investigation.
This country is being...
Because you won't allow the press in, you won't allow international organisations in,
Precisely,
and you are
that's
judging
not true.
yourselves.
International
That's why they have no
organisations,
credibility.
We do have credibility.
You're not allowing...
We do have credibility. The amount of lies that are told is genuinely unbelievable.
National media in. You do not give free passage to the United Nations. You've expelled UNRWA, the organisation which was dispensing aid, and you're saying that you'll investigate yourselves. It's no wonder people don't trust that.
So we're not interested in your trust. Our priority is getting our hostages home, Christian. That's what we care about. We're not sending journalists in. We want to get our hostages out. That's what we care about. Now, real journalists enter Gaza with the IDF. Hamas journalists never leave. And many of
real journalists? What, fucking Douglas Murray? Literally a genocidal racist piece of shit.
These so-called journalists who have been killed in Gaza.
An escort around Gaza.
Many
Most
of these
real
so-called
journalists from outside Israel are not allowed into Gaza. Let us in.
Right, so we want to get our hostages. We want to get our hostages out, and rather than you in, Christian. That's our priority. Maybe your priority
don't want us to
is
see
to get
what...
it.
I mean, this is also really true. I don't know if any of you remember it. I don't know if any of you remember this. This was fucking crazy. So there was this day where Israel claimed that a hospital in Lebanon was had like a fucking Hezbollah bank underneath it with gold underneath it, and it was insane. And Sky News reporters went in, they looked around the whole thing, and there was nothing there. There was nothing there. This is the whole reason, because they would report, hang on a second, we don't see loads of Hamas comings and goings at, you know, these hospitals, as you would see if they were command centres. There's no tunnels, there's none of these things. But, of course, this fucking little Sontaran freak, who is from the fucking UK! Like, I cannot reiterate that enough. This guy is not from Palestine. He is a fucking settler who moved over there to go and justify killing indigenous people. Fuck him, and fuck all people who do this.
You're doing, that's the truth.
Okay, so the story's on every single screen across the world. So this nonsense, this canard of it's not getting stories not getting out.
But not checked by the international media, and it allows you to say what's coming out of Gaza is untrue.
But it's also because this is also being coupled with a relentless campaign to claim Palestinian journalists are Hamas. Never forget how important a facet that was of the Israeli genocide. Like, never ever forget that.
True. So you stop us going in, and you dismiss what's coming out, and so you can carry on saying whatever you want, and you won't allow any independent investigation or scrutiny.
Look, when it comes to journalists, we are a free country, we are a free society, we have the most open media of anywhere, hundreds of miles in any direction.
This is categorically untrue, by the way. This is like categorically, provably untrue. Israel has worse press freedom than Qatar. This is Israel's press freedom. Israel ranks 112th out of 180 countries in the world. It's not even in the top half of the countries in the world at all. And it's actually going down. Press freedom, media plurality, and editorial independence have been increasingly restricted. Close to 200 journalists were killed in 18 months in Gaza by the IOF, and pressure on journalists in Israel has increased. Disinformation campaigns and repressive laws have multiplied. In 2023, the far-right Channel 14 became the second most watched channel in Israel, following Channel 12. Ynet is the most widely read news site in the country, and the daily newspaper Haaretz has considerable influence despite limited readership. And despite the pressures journalists face, other dailies that compete in the in print media include Yedioth Ahronoth and Israel Hayom. Faced with poor representation in the media, certain segments of Israel's society, media outlets catering to the Arabic and Russian-speaking audiences, and Orthodox Jewish community have emerged. Safety. Before the attack by Hamas, I'm just seeing, politicians have significant influence over appointments to the broadcasting regulatory bodies. So it just talks about this, and it will talk about the military censorship reporting on various security issue requires prior approval by the authorities. In 2023, Parliament passed an amendment to the anti-terrorism law that punishes those who systemically and continuously consume terrorist publications. I mean, what is that as a law? What is that as a law? Consume terrorist publications? Like, what? And I think that this is funny, because there was what if I just wanted to read, to understand what he did, fucking Mein Kampf? It's not that outrageous, by the way, to want to see, oh my god, this is how he justified and spoke about his racism. This is the kind of man he was and things like that, you know. What, would that be consuming a terrorist publication? Or who broadcast a direct call to commit terrorism. And by the way, an act of terrorism would probably be fucking protesting against the state of Israel. Its broad interpretation is intended to ban media outlets deemed unfavourable, a goal that was reinforced with a 2024 law allowing for a ban on foreign media considered threats. So it's not even just inside Gaza. They ban foreign media that is a threat to the state of Israel. Oh, hold on. Also, by the way, journalists identified as Arab face more intimidation while working, and foreign journalists are experiencing increasing difficulty obtaining accreditation. Since the start of the Gaza genocide, the authorities have intensified repression against journalists, especially against foreign and Israeli journalists whose coverage of the war deviates from the government's narrative. A harsh nationalist discourse regularly dominates media coverage, drawing out diverse viewpoints in overall coverage. But yeah, it's just not true. Qatar has better press freedom.
But unfortunately, an independent journalist in media, in Gaza, gets killed. Because if you put out anything hostile to Hamas...
By the way, Israel has killed hundreds of journalists, many of them independent. Hossam Shabbat was not affiliated with Hamas. So many people who are unaffiliated with Hamas just murdered. The only people killing independent journalists are fucking Israel.
You get killed.
It's like when they talk about, how say Hamas kills protesters. Israel kills way more protesters. And hello, Connie, nice to see you. Because he is fucking English. If you're wondering why he sounds English, this guy's from fucking England.
Gaza, that's
well,
the
it's
reality
the
of the
Israelis who have a
situation.
record of killing journalists. Whether
Based.
it's Shireen
No,
Abu
that's
Akleh or
appalling.
James Miller or other.
No, that's appalling. Bro, it would be I don't even know if there's an equivalent. It'd be like me going and people hey, the British Empire did a lot of bad things, and it'd just be no, that's appalling. That's appalling. The British Army killed a child in Afghanistan. No, that's appalling.
That's an appalling, many so-called journalists in Gaza are
Well, again,
actually,
these are
unfortunately... Yeah, these are facts that many of these so-called journalists are just Hamas operatives with press vests. Just check their social media. It's full of praise for Hamas.
Why would that wouldn't make them a Hamas operative? That would give them a political affiliation.
For the simple reason that if you're a journalist in Gaza and you put out anything hostile to Hamas, you get murdered.
Look how gleefully he says that. You get murdered. You get murdered. Fucking idiot.
Our priority is getting our hostages out, not your journalists in.
David Benson, thank you very much for your time.
I don't know how they managed to find someone worse than Elon Levy. It's pretty fucking hard. I think it's pretty hard to find someone who is more stupid and horrible than than Elon Levy. Like, well done, you found the worst British person ever. I just want to see if I can find another interview of him.
Were killed. 3 children were killed.
Army, they issued warning shots in the air.
So he did 2. So let's have a view if there's any other bangers
they
on this one.
issued warning shots in the air, and still some of these suspects continued to advance.
Yeah, I wish we could go back to the... Do you remember that whole manufactured meme with like Elon Levy where it was like, Elon Levy is taking over the internet with his eyebrows going... And it was like, I didn't even see any fucking Zionists posting it.
Troops in a...
Why do you need mods? What's going on? What's going on? What's the mods thing?
Threatening manner. Still, further fire was directed close to them, but not to them, but they continued their advance. So we know...
I don't know if there's any mods online. You know what? Where's the... You don't have to... You don't... What's the person doing? Let me see first. What are they posting in chat? I can't even see them. That's the problem. You're making the chat go too fast. I can't even see this Jane person. I can't even find a comment. I can just see... what are they saying? Where is this Jane person even talking? For some reason, I can't even fucking see them. I think that this is a bit annoying. I mean, I'd like to see what this Jane person is saying. Jane is saying we have no evidence against Israel. I mean, what do you mean no evidence? I feel like there's a massive set of evidence against the state of Israel. But why wouldn't I be able to see her? Are they still posting in the chat? Like, what is this? What? Yeah, like seriously. Jane wants to shut down the... I can't see Jane either, thankfully. Yeah, fuck it. I don't care.
Very well about this report, but I must tell you again that we have released verifiable footage of Hamas gunmen themselves firing at Gaza.
David, yes, but the footage that you just alluded to from the incident on Sunday is disputed. It was not of...
Where do I change it to show all participants? How do I do that?
I don't think it's disputed at all.
Humanitarian Foundation site.
No, I don't agree with you. I don't think it's disputed at all. It's probably disputed by people that want Hamas to retain control of aid distribution.
Oh my god, I didn't even realise. Oh, that's fucked my PC. Wait, I should probably refresh it. My PC's going to explode from seeing live chat. Oh, fucking hell. It's literally just stopped working. Brilliant. Hold on. Okay, there we go.
But we're not going to have that anymore because
So
that
let's
is
talk-
Thank you for the moustache support. A lot of people like it.
Let's talk about this incident on Tuesday. Okay, David, let's talk about this incident on Tuesday. 27 people killed. You say there was a threat.
Also, if anyone knows how to stream stuff, can they message me? Because I want to know how to put the live chat, like, in the left-hand corner.
Did they have weapons?
Well, you'll have to ask the IDF for the specifics. Points
I'm asking
about
you.
that.
You're here to speak.
Right,
for
and
the Israeli
I'll
government.
tell you that the IDF is not preventing the arrival of Gazans at humanitarian.
Thank you so much, Kitty. Yeah, Connie, I just don't know why they sent him out, because every interview for him just goes horrible.
That was not my question, David, as you well know. Did they have weapons, David?
It's precisely the opposite. We are encouraging it. Now, the warning shots were fired away from the aid distribution point in response to the threat perceived by IDF troops. Now, we are facilitating, using this independent operation of this NGO, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, specifically precisely to ensure that aid reaches civilians and not Hamas.
Yeah.
There have been many occasions.
he is so red. He is so fucking red. It is actually unbelievable.
Hamas lying to international media.
Chatterino. Okay, cool.
And unfortunately, international media repeating those lies, and that very often leads
we're not
to
repeating
dead
any lies, David.
But still, like, I guess the problem is that, like, this is all really, for the longest time, a lot of what Israel has said has just been, provable lies. Well, I just realised I only have Tony Soprano Lover, who quite often is watching on phone, and then I have Hyper J, who's not here today. So, yeah, I just thought I'd add them. I just thought I'd add a couple of people. It was no real specific reason. I was just sort of adding people.
I'm putting the questions to you.
Who are here. I'll add more mods if I need them.
And as you well know, in recent weeks, we have spoken to Hamas about this.
He needs to check the signs of having a stroke.
There's 27 that were killed. 3 children were killed. 2 women. Were they a threat as well?
Again, every bit of news which comes out of Hamas, of Gaza is...
See, that this is literally just the thing of, like, justifying and claiming that Palestinians are untrustworthy, that their information must be ignored.
Controlled by...
You know what, Toadburger? You have been here since the very first. I know that there are others, but I'll add another moderator. It makes sense too.
The terrorist organisation. There have been many. I can read
so
you
we can't be
a
trusted,
whole
is what you're
list.
saying?
No, I'm not. I'm saying that you need to verify. Do your jobs,
We'd
media.
love to... David,
we are not preventing
David,
Gazans from accessing
as you know, David, and as
aid.
you and I have spoken about before, we would love to verify this, but international...
He looks really sad in this one.
journalists are not allowed into Gaza, are they? Why not?
Well, I'll tell you very, very clearly what the reason is for that. Our priority is getting our hostages out, not Sky's journalists in.
He looks like he's gonna fucking cry.
That's our priority. That's what we care about. Now,
I could turn red if I, like, hung my head over the chair, maybe.
Journalists enter Gaza with the IDF.
Christopher.
Hamas journalists, unfortunately, never leave because they work with Hamas. And to be fair to those journalists reporting from Gaza, you won't be
QAP, thank you for an incredibly kind donation. Thank you so much.
Alive very long if you ever do produce any sort of output that...
Bloody hell, QAP, thank you so much.
...is against Hamas, because Hamas will kill you. So many so-called journalists in Gaza, and of course we regret any journalists which have been killed, real journalists, but, you know, Hamas operatives...
You're distinguishing between real journalists and fake journalists. The point is, David, journalists aren't allowed...
I mean, also, it's such an arbitrary distinction. As you heard in the other one, his argument was literally, they have Hamas posts on Facebook. You can go through, by the way, and see this shit. This is literally what they say and do. They say that people are, you know, Hamas journalists by going on and finding a picture of them with Yahya Sinwar. I don't care. They live in Gaza. It is the government there.
From international organisations are not allowed into Gaza, are they? And I'm asking you again why you don't allow that. Why don't the Israeli government allow journalists in? You'll know the charge that's put to the Israeli government is that they don't want the world to see what's really happening.
Again, so there's no shortage of output from Gaza. It's been on our front of our screens for 20 months now. But our priority is getting our hostages out.
You're not letting...
We want to get our live hostages out, not sending your journalists in. I will remind you that Hamas arrested a BBC journalist about 10 years ago, and they held...
Thank you so much, Sabiul.
...him, and he was only released when there was an international outcry, and finally...
I haven't spoken about the Madeleine. I guess that is stuff to talk about. Yeah, my stomach isn't hurting so much.
Hamas released him. Now, that same outcry has not happened for our Israeli people being held hostage for more than...
What did he just say?
Outcry, and finally Hamas released him. Now, that same outcry has not happened for our Israeli people being held.
This is genuinely, like, this same outcry. Literally every Western government statement goes, we need to see the hostages released. And they, like, go, oh, it's bad stuff is happening in Gaza. They don't even fucking condemn Israel. Even these nations who are like, oh, Israel's conduct is generally horrible. A lot of people within Western governments, especially the UK, will say, oh, you know, oh, this is what... Sorry, a lot of Western government people will literally go out and say, oh, we must release the hostages. And they never talk about the Palestinians who have been detained, raped in detention, tortured, subjected to brutal treatment, constantly having limbs removed due to how bad it is. It's crazy. And yeah, Israel literally arrested some journalists in Syria, probably because some of them were locals, because they had dark skin, and Israel doesn't like people like that.
Held hostage for more than 600 days now. Our priority is getting our hostages out, not sending your journalists in.
David, that's entirely misleading. You know that...
I like this guy. I mean, generally he's a bit soft and they've all been a bit... I mean, I can't say I like them, you know. Their journalism hasn't been good enough, but this is quite funny. The way he's speaking to him, so childlike. David, you know. And he's just gone all... He's even going purple. He is becoming colours that we have never even seen before. We have never even seen these colours. These are new colours.
There has been international condemnation of the hostages that are still being held. It is untrue for you to make that charge. Right?
I'm not talking about condemnation in...
Do you ever notice how much these fucks appropriate, like, genuinely important language from the Palestinian cause? I'm not talking about condemnation and words. You are being given a green light to starve people. You have massacred tens of thousands of people. You know? You have massacred tens of thousands of people.
Words. I'm talking about real action.
The real action has been allowing you to perpetrate so many massacres and get away with it. That is far more... You know what? Like, he's acting as if, like, oh, you know, Palestinians, they get so much. What do they fucking get? They just get called members of Hamas. The BBC talking about Gaza-controlled... Hamas-controlled Gaza.
When real pressure is put on Hamas, the terror organisation, things happen.
Well,
hostages are released.
There's a
you know
peace
when they
process,
get stronger. I'll tell you when they get
ceasefire
stronger.
Process that's on the way, and it's ongoing, as you know, and we'll come on to that in a moment.
Sorry, there's something interesting emerging right now that is happening, like, over the last few days. Anger was before I met. He looks like the squash from Plants vs. Zombie. He actually does. He actually does look like the squash from Plants vs. Zombies. I really wish I was more competent with, like, hold on, let me see if I can just, like, drag it over. Yeah, bro. Tell me that this guy would have been a better spokesman for the IOF, but he's the wrong colours, the only problem. Is that like an aubergine? An eggplant. Sorry to my American viewers. I mean, he kind of looks like that as well, but maybe not so much. He does actually genuinely look like the squash. Yes. Tony Soprano Lover is correct. Get liking the freaking stream. Oh yeah, so basically the ICC has had multiple of its judges sanctioned by the State of Israel. Multiple of these of the judges have been sorry, not by Israel, by the US, and Slovenia has one of the judges, and they're apparently rejecting it. And have we ever seen them in the same place at the same time? Yeah, there was a terrible raid by loads of zombies one night on Dave's house, and David Mensa. That's why he's actually a decorated IOF veteran. He killed all the children zombies in the garden. He's a really brave guy. I mean, well, the children zombies, you know, they were actually just like having a nice time. They were being friendly, but you know, he did a brave service by taking them out. But yeah, so apparently the judge, who is a Slovenian citizen, so they're talking about instituting the Blocking Act. So, they're talking about it here. The blocking statute provides the EU with legal tools it needs and must now use. It prohibits compliance with unlawful extraterritorial measures, allows recovery of damage, and nullifies the effects of foreign rulings within the Union. Its activation is not only legally justified, it is legally, politically, and morally necessary. So what is it? Sitting judges in the ICC. So they're basically talking about the US sanctioning them. And these sanctions, which include asset freezes, visa bans, and coercive measures targeting the family members, are not only punitive, they are retaliatory. So they're basically just talking about instituting something from... I think that, you know what, I think that there are European nations who are just going to block it, sadly. I think that Germany, because they have literally... Germany, by the way, has literally said that they are willing to fly Netanyahu over to Germany. Merz has said that. But I mean, it's hard to see what will happen there, but I don't know. Right, now, people probably want to see this as well, because there are some unbelievable clips of this fucking ghoul. Natasha Hausendorf, a woman whose entire being is dedicated to justifying stealing land from indigenous people.
What I am calling out are the lies and the falsehoods and the blood libels that have been propagated.
The blood libels.
And those
I was told
that are
by the
interested-
ambassador to UK it was a blood libel for me to suggest that Israel had killed children in this
No,
war.
I don't believe that was the case.
There
I think it
was.
was to do with targeting children.
No.
And there is a difference.
Right.
Because we are hearing that Israel is targeting children, and that couldn't be further from
Well,
the fact,
last week, 9 out of 10 children in one home where 2 doctors reside were killed in an airstrike.
Well,
What was that?
Remarkable.
Well, what was that?
That has been based only on the basis of hearsay.
This is just mad. That has been based on hearsay. There were literally videos and photos of them dead. And the other doctors, this is like something that is independently verified. Graham Groom, a British surgeon working in the hospital who operated on her surviving 11-year-old boy, told the BBC it was unbearably cruel that his mother, who spent years caring for children as a paediatrician, could lose almost all her own in one single missile strike. Sadistically evil woman, by the way. Sadistically evil. And yet another person from the UK.
You don't believe that story?
I want these stories.
Wait a minute. You don't believe that those children were killed?
I have seen conflicting accounts, and I want that story to be properly investigated before the international media runs with it.
You think those 2 parents, one of whom I think operated on one of the children?
I have a question.
You think that those 2 doctors, the parents, they just made it up?
Why are
that
those
9 of
children
their
there?
10 children had been blown to pieces by an Israeli airstrike?
If this is true...
You don't believe it?
Well, why on earth was...
Yeah. Don't give Piers credit for any of this. Piers is just covering his own ass, and he had his little... with Ahmed Al-Nouk, he was being a dickhead. Nauk, sorry.
Artificially generated imagery used to promote this story when it first happened.
I've got to say, Natasha, I think what you've just said about that family is despicable.
We've seen time
I'm
and
sorry,
time again.
it's despicable.
What is truly
Somebody, you talk about...
This is just really, this is just indicative of this. Qatar thanks you for your work. Thank you so much, Qatari. Ethan Klein is not going to like seeing that.
Blood libel.
He's going to think the Qatari government is sending me money to demonise him and Healer and boycott Teddy Fresh.
Dave said, you talk about blood libel, you talk about lies,
All I said,
you talk about promoting
was that there were
propaganda,
conflicting
and here you
accounts.
sit here as a lawyer and you say that you do not believe those 9 children were killed.
I didn't say that. You're putting
You
words
did?
in my mouth.
Do you believe it or not?
I didn't say that. I only said that their parents had made it up.
Said that there were conflicting
Do you
accounts
believe it?
and it needs to be
Do
investigated.
you believe it?
I thought you would be the
The parents
first
said
person
9 of their
that
10
wants-
children were killed.
They
Do you
haven't-
believe them
they
or not?
haven't- they
Or did
haven't
those
said
2
that
doctors make it up?
My expectation is a family who lost who lost so much in one day that they should be making all these public statements.
I haven't said that directly as far as I have seen. I have seen second-hand accounts and hearsay, but it's important to ask, why are these civilians still there?
There are also, by the way, on this topic, there is a verified thing, and here she is justifying the ethnic cleansing of the Gaza Strip.
Why is it that
Actually, no, it's important to ask whether you believe that family have lost 9 of their 10 children.
I want to know why the international
You don't, do
community...
you? You don't. And this goes to the point that I would say about Israel
Why are
generally
these
now, in this war now.
civilians
Israel says they don't believe anything.
coming out of Hamas?
Every
Indeed.
story.
Yeah, you're right about calling someone Gazan. There are actually Gazans, but that's not what they're talking about. A Gazan, a Ghazawi is It's like a person from Gaza. Ghazawi is like the thing. It's like someone who is not a refugee living there. They're like someone who grew up and is like local to that area, but that's not how people talk about it.
Story that comes out about the deaths of civilians in Gaza.
Because there is a track
someone will
record
pop
of
up
lies.
representing the Israeli government saying, it's propaganda. It's not true. I've heard it's not right. I've heard it didn't happen. And the reason you
Piers, I feel like for quite a while you were someone doing that, right? Like Piers, I think you may have done that for quite a while. Piers, hello, have you forgotten?
get away with it, frankly, is because you won't allow, the Israeli government won't allow, I don't want to keep putting you in the government.
Twitch is freaking out regarding the opinion shift. I got suspended yesterday for 7 days. They refused to tell me why. Nothing else but to assume it's because I'm vocal about the genocide. I mean, quite possibly. It's one of the reasons that I didn't really want to stream on there. So someone said in the chat that there was an AI image, but the BBC article also says that there are verified images.
Government, but you just...
And thank you very much, Castrine Kubik.
You defend them. The Israeli government refuses to allow international journalists to...
Piers Morgan is Hamas. Hamas. Piers Morgan is pledging allegiance to the Qassam Brigades.
Get in there and do their job and verify.
Qatari Oiler, thank you so much for the gift memberships. Incredibly appreciated. Thank you so much to everyone this stream.
Whether any of these things are actually happening
I have been
when
there.
you say they didn't happen.
I can help you with why. I've been there in September and seen a great deal of the Hamas terror infrastructure with my own eyes, including the fact that when we were in Rafah, every second building was being used.
Did you see any dead
by
children?
Hamas. No. And
by the way, this is also a lie, and Israel uses it as justification. Like Lonabox repeated this. Israel uses this. They say Gaza was so heavily militarized that like all infrastructure there was basically terror infrastructure. The only place that this comes from is from Israel, but also a lot of the destruction in Gaza is clearly not from that. Yunus Tirawi has probably done the most detailed reporting on this. Yunus Tirawi talks about how the Libby group in particular, which is run by a settler called David Libby, here you go, they are, look, they are paying civilians nearly $200 a day to join and operate in the Gaza Strip to demolish houses. If it was so dangerous, you wouldn't be doing that. Thank you so much, Layla, for becoming a member.
this is the important factor.
Why do you think that?
Our movements...
Goodbye, McGee. Thank you all for being on here so much.
Because there aren't any,
No.
or because you were being given a sanitized little tour,
No, we were
which
being-
didn't involve seeing the bodies of dead children.
Yeah, pretty fucking mad. There was one more that I wanted to watch here because this looks insane. Sophie, thank you so much. Jesus, everyone has been so kind with the donations today.
Dave Smith, his whole thing is this brutal occupation that's been going on since 1967 is a disaster. That's what he sounds like.
He's like, Palestinians don't have any rights. The conclusion is, what do you expect? What rights do they have?
Well, those that live under the Palestinian Authority, which I explained was established through the Oslo Accords, should be voting for their leadership. Unfortunately, there was one election and never again. Mahmoud.
Israel fucking denied elections! Israel categorically denied elections, by the way. Israel wouldn't allow Yasser Arafat to hold an election. They are incredibly happy with what is going on there. They're incredibly happy with this. They are incredibly happy with all of this stuff. Like, they have no problem with Mahmoud Abbas. He's literally a dog that does whatever they want.
Mahmoud Abbas, I think, is now in the 20th year of his 4-year term.
He's actually almost the oldest leader in the world. Thank you, Toadburger. That's your 5th super chat. Thank you so much.
And it's true that the Palestinians are appallingly treated by their leadership.
They do it for Israel. By the way, the Palestinian Authority, they are literally trained. The Palestinian Authority are trained by America. They are backed by the international community. Their security forces have gotten worse as they've been CIA and trained by the CIA and mercenaries. It is insane to say this. Like, it's just, once again, this is a lawyer. This is not reality that she exists within.
By the PA in the...
But the PA do treat people like dog shit, by the way.
West Bank, and have been subjugated by Hamas since their violent takeover in 2007 in the Gaza Strip. Israel has nothing to do with either of those situations.
Israel collaborates on security with the Palestinian Authority. They collaborate with the Palestinian Authority. Like, they literally do security coordination.
We come on to this concept of
Israel has nothing to do with them. What? Israel can withhold the tax money from the Palestinian Authority whenever they want to. In fact, fucking Bezalel Smotrich does this kind of stuff. And also, by the way, Gaza was struggling before that, and Israel's treatment, everyone's like, Yahya Sinwar killed people with his bare hands. Yahya Sinwar did this. Yahya Sinwar did that. So this is, fucking hell. This is written by an Israeli soldier. It's called On Gaza Beach. And he talks about it. Listen to this. And I would see the soldiers come back with children of 15 or 16. The children grit their teeth. Their eyes bulge from their sockets. In not a few cases, they have already been beaten. Even S, who owns a plant in the occupied territories, can't believe his eyes. Have we come to this, he asks, that the Shin Bet goes after kids like these? And soldiers crowd together in the reception room to look at them when they undress, to look at them in their underwear, to look at them as they tremble with fear, and sometimes they kick them one kick more before they put on their new prison clothes. Sometimes they just curse. Like, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. You can read this. This guy literally comes to the conclusion that he feels like a Nazi for what they are doing in 1991.
Occupation. First question you need to ask is, who was it occupied from? To which invariably these people have no answer, because the reality of the situation is that ever since Israel's Declaration of Independence in 1948, Israel inherits the pre-existing administrative lines of the British Mandate that preceded it.
It's so interesting, also just picking and choosing international law, you know, ignoring all the stuff about Palestinians being refugees and all of these things, you know, that doesn't matter. But whenever someone, by the way, whenever someone brings up, like, Hamas's treatment of protesters and all of these things, the truth is that during the First Intifada, non-violent resistance, Israel inflicted horrific violence on non-violent protesters. There is no ambiguity about that. If you keep... What, was there a comment about the mustache? Because there's going to be a removal of modship. What was the name of the Plants vs. Zombies squash? Looking at our school, by the way. David Menzer. Thank you so much, LMP, for the incredibly kind donation. I will keep it up.
So the territory that we're talking about was originally Israeli sovereign territory.
What? Settlers who came to the land with the support of the British Empire owned 5%, owned under 6% of that land when they were getting these great deals that were giving them huge amounts of land. It is insane. It is genuinely insane that this is the world in which these people are talking about. Like, what is she fucking talking about? Very perverted international law
and
here.
What we have seen in the West Bank is a series of legal frameworks, administrative frameworks, first in 1967, when Israel recovered that territory.
So why doesn't Israel have to honour the Oslo Accords? Why is that?
Territory from Jordanian occupation. This rule, called Utipos Adetis Juris, is a rule that is established to create clean lines, stability, certainty, to prevent fratricidal struggles. When people say that Palestinian Arabs living in the West Bank are subject to different laws, there are two important...
We have a saying in French Canadian. Tony Soprano lover, can you confirm this? Trashing like a demon in holy water. Israel knows the population is finally waking up to their crimes and they're freaking out. Yeah, I mean, they're just rolling out people like this, though, and they are just idiots. But thank you so much again. You've given so much, Kastrine. Thank you so much for your support.
Layers of that to be aware of.
It's free. Thank you again, Qatari Oiler. You've been supporting so much. Incredible. Thank you all for your incredibly kind donations.
One is, of course, Palestinian Authority law.
Hold on, let me just go back.
They say that Palestinian Arabs living in the West Bank are subject to different laws. There are two important...
This is just insane.
Layers of that to be aware of. One is, of course, Palestinian Authority.
No. We're joking about the moustache. I don't care.
law because they govern areas A and B, which many people seem to be unaware of. But the other is the legal framework that Israel applied, which mandates, for example...
By the way, these are all just perverse justifications for totally perverse things. There is no ambiguity. What Israel does under international law is illegal. She can try and confuse you with all of this shit, but there is a reason that the ICJ, the highest courts in the entire world, are going against what this ghoul is fucking saying. There is a very clear reason for that, and that is because she lies and says whatever she wants. I hate when they think we are so stupid we will believe anything, no matter how ridiculous it is, even when they contradict themselves. Free Palestine. Indeed, thank you very much, Mama. But yeah, I mean, like, this is just crap. It's just crap spewed out to make Israel supporters to feel like, oh, actually, maybe there's some truth to this. They literally said... They literally said that Israel must be dismantled. What is the ICJ Hamas? Is she a better lawyer than everyone there who supported it and argued very succinctly and gave a clear explanation as to the horrendous treatment? Palestinians are not allowed on the same road. They are not allowed on the same roads as some Jewish people. They are not allowed to protest in the same way. They are not allowed to act in the same way. It is so clear that there is apartheid. There are certain fucking roads they can't walk on. Like, it's insane. Israel has ruined Palestinian lives there, and to claim this kind of stuff is utterly ridiculous.
Example that Israel have military courts in the West Bank, in particular in Area C, where it has retained administrative and security control.
Israel has military control in Area B, by the way.
A is Arab, B is mixed, and C is Jewish.
So B is Israeli security control.
And also, in East Jerusalem, there are other laws that affect Palestinians differently.
But Palestinian Authority civil control. So when it comes to planning and zoning or, you know, the taking out of the rubbish.
So the PA should be taking care of it, but it doesn't.
They have no money because Israel steals it. This is so ridiculous. This is so ridiculous. It's genuinely ridiculous. Like, Israel has destroyed the Palestinian economy through occupation. To sit here and say this is just ridiculous. How to become a member through the YouTube app. So here's a donate. Thank you so much, Kylie. That's incredibly appreciated. Is Tony Soprano Lover even here?
Because Mahmoud Abbas...
Wait, is Tony Soprano Lover... Yeah, Tony Soprano Lover is French-Canadian.
...prefers to come to the United Nations and...
Wait, are they attacking Jenin?
Slam his fist on the table and play the part of, world leader, fist on the table.
But it doesn't.
Because Mahmoud Abbas prefers to come to the United Nations and slam his fist on the table and play the part of, world leader rather than take the trash out.
That is insane. This is literally... By the way, this is also such a weird account. It's fake and it's definitely owned by... Like, what is this? What is this? That is outrageous. That is genuinely outrageous. What is this? Is that like a pregnant Barbie? Oh my god, this account is... this account is so weird. I've never seen anything like this.
Border on the 7th of October had never seen a Jew before. The first Jews were the Palestinian terrorists that crossed the border on the 7th of October had never seen a Jew before.
Because the only Jewish people they'd seen was shooting them.
The first Jews they encountered were those that they raped, slaughtered, burned, mutilated.
But I thought earlier it wasn't enough. I thought earlier when she said, oh, we can't trust this whole family being burnt. We can't trust that because it's only hearsay. Well, there's less evidence of what she's saying here, the mass rapes and stuff,
Later, tortured and abducted because Jews had been ethnically cleansed from Gaza.
I'm sorry, I am not listening to this. You know what, I think she defended Israel at the ICJ. I'm pretty sure she was at the International Court of Justice. She did! She fucking did! Wait, did she? No, I don't think she did. I don't think she did, actually. I don't think she did. She's such a fucking idiot. No, she didn't. Nah, she didn't. I was wrong. I'll admit it. I thought she did. But I feel like I'm not going insane. There was definitely a woman on the Israeli team. On the Israeli fucking team. It's probably not the most apt way to describe it. But quickly, I'll just show you this video of Piers Morgan and why I have no faith in the idea that this is like some normal fucking guy who's like actually changed his opinions.
I'm very sorry about what's happened to your family.
Thank you.
I'm sorry what happened to your family. I'm sorry. Sorry that they all got genocided by Israel. I'm sorry about that. Sorry I published loads of lies about that.
I would ask you maybe one question.
Her name is Natasha Hausdorff.
Which is simply, do you blame Hamas at all for bringing the onslaught onto the people of Gaza with what they did on October the 7th? Do you not think that they knew when they did that exactly how Israel would respond?
I have no idea what Hamas thought of when they did the 7th of October. I just know that Israel killed my family, and I know who killed my family. Israel. It was an F-16 that dropped a bomb on my family home, killing all my family. It was Israel who killed my mother 5 years ago. Do you know how? By not allowing her to receive a treatment for her cancer.
Yeah, this is also, by the way, a form of apartheid that's not really spoken about very much. This form of apartheid is basically where you deny Palestinians the same medical rights that are given to like Jewish people. They keep Palestinians locked away in an area and deny them the right to leave that area.
They died. She died waiting to travel to a Palestinian hospital in the West Bank to receive a treatment. And she died. I just know that Israel starved the rest of the Palestinian people. I know whose weapons are. I know these planes, who they belong to. I know who these weapons
No, I understand
they
it,
belong
but I
to.
wonder whether you just think that what Hamas did was so heinous on such a spectacular scale that the leaders of Hamas knew that Israel would have to respond with enormous force.
This is such a perverse thing as well, because where does it factor in having an occupation for decades into these people's analysis? Where does it factor in the increasing dispossession of the Palestinian people? Like, what is it? Like, what does this mean? Like, why is it that Israel has a right to respond, but in these people's minds, Palestinians do not have any right or justification for resistance or any, like, or anything existing within that remit? It is so obvious. Like, look at this way he speaks to a man who has lost so many family members. It's ridiculous.
And they did, and a lot of your family were killed in the response that came.
They died because Israel is a settler colonial project that never had any interest in peace with the Palestinians and pushed it to a point where militant resistance was the only option, really.
I'm not taking a side. I'm not trying to justify it.
Yes.
I'm just saying Hamas would have known exactly what was going to come back when they did what they did. And I just wonder whether, as you blame a lot of people, Israel, me, others, whoever, does any part of you also blame Hamas?
Piers, I don't know what Hamas thought when they did the 7th of October. But I know who killed my family. I know who starved the Palestinian people. I know.
Thank you so much, Cool Cat, for becoming a member.
Who started all of this problem in the Nakba 77 years ago when they took away my homeland. I'm a refugee, Piers Morgan. And I know all of the evil in the world starts from the root causes, which is the occupation. Enough, Piers. We need to live in dignity.
I agree with
to
you.
live in freedom.
Listen,
is it too much to ask for freedom?
Ahmed, I agree with you. You should have exactly the same rights. All Palestinians should have the same human rights as Israelis, as me, as anybody else. I think there should be a two-state solution where Palestine has its own state, exactly as Israel does. I've said that from the start, and I hope we get to that.
But, like, the other problem with this is how do you magically get to a point that deals with, like, years of dispossession and marginalisation?
And I hope...
I can finally afford a new computer. I mean, yeah, I can afford a new computer. I just need to get it.
The war and the suffering and the appalling experience that you and your family have had to endure is brought to an end. And that finally we can get to some peace in this very long-running, awful conflict.
And again, he calls it an awful conflict after a few days ago, like pandering to the whole, I think it might be a genocide thing. And he may confront these idiots, but it's so easy to confront someone like Natasha Hausdorff and just talk about, and just talk about how much she's fucking lying. Like, it's very obvious. It's very obvious that she's just a considerable liar. And so confronting someone like her, David Menzer, or whoever, they're confronting, it's not hard. but it should have been done months ago. It should have been done around the Al Ahli Baptist Hospital. They should have brought them on straight away and said, hey, you should confront them and say, hey, like, why did you lie about what's happened here, you know? What happened here? Right, what time is it? 7:30, so, I'm just having a look and seeing if there's anything else. I guess we already went over the ISIS-backed gang leader, and my next video is going to talk about that a lot, so... I'm just checking down to see if there's anything else I want to talk about. Fucking hell! Look at this! Has chat froze or am I being doxxed? I think chat's moving. I always put hummus in my condoms. Shut up. I don't know how anyone can remain calm. Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to remain calm. I really want to go on Piers Morgan. I really want to get the opportunity. Because it's like, why is Dave Smith constantly on there, man? Like, Dave Smith has no expertise in Palestine. I've been doing this for years. I've garnered millions upon millions of views on TikTok and all of this stuff. But yeah, it's ridiculous. But just listen to this. The UK police, to use... This is, by the way, Ahmed Al-Farouq's thing. So shout out them. That's the guy who you just saw. This is his thing. I would really recommend checking out Palestine Deep Dive. Hold on, I need to take my gum out. Oh, fuck. I can't take it out. Okay, it's not the end of it. So this week, London has spotted the city's Metropolitan Police trialling a new Sandcat armoured vehicle across the capital. This week, the Sandcat is manufactured by Plasan, which for over 3 decades has been a key supplier of dead. It's just mad, isn't it? It's just fucking mad that this is still going on. That we are still getting this kind of stuff. The girls broke up in Pride Month. I know, it's tragic. It's fucking tragic. I guess I could talk about it a bit. So last night was a very funny night. I can't see Elon Musk on Twitter because I muted him. Right, here we go. Let's see what he posts. Jesus Christ.
Offer me power. I don't care. See, you just don't.
Why is he posting like epic edits of himself? What a fucking freak.
He doesn't look like the co-president anymore. The media said Trump was doing favors for Elon Musk. Well, if you look at this big, beautiful bill, there's no favors for Elon Musk in it at all. Now, the big...
You know, whatever would have happened between these two, this produced the greatest moment in Trump history. And that's saying something. That it produced the greatest moment.
Computer.
Oh, I can't even find this fucking video where he says everything is computer. It's from this. Oh my god, my fucking internet is so fucking shit. Oh, and this keeps happening on YouTube. I don't know what... Actually, I think it must be some kind of YouTube thing. Maybe it's even the amount of RAM in my PC. Maybe it's just cooked, you know. Fuck me. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Hold on, I'll pull it up. Sorry, I'm spending...
That's beautiful. This is a different panel than I've had. Everything's computer.
At least I finally got it. I needed the payoff. Wow.
That's beautiful. This is a different panel than I've had. Everything's computer.
Everything's computer.
That's beautiful. Wow.
You are too smart to have a crap PC. It's not even that crap. It's quite like a decent PC. I've just had it for 6 years now, and it's just quite a while, and I need to get it. Oh, fuck me. That's one of the... It's a sad day for that reason alone. Once upon a time, everything was computer, and now everything's turned from computer into shit. It's a horrible day, and I don't think people should be laughing so freely. I want to see if the Elon Epstein tweet is up.
Chicago party shows Trump giving Epstein his personal...
He's just been posting about Trump being a pedo, but he was fucking friends with Epstein. Time to drop a really big bomb. Real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not made it public. I don't actually think that is the real reason that they haven't made it public. I think the real reason that they haven't made it public is because loads of fucking people are in the Epstein files. Like loads of really fucking high up people who are very well off, who are affiliated with Trump, who make loads of money. It's I think it's like a kind of a thing of like you know, what would be the point? And also, like, how would you not know this? How would you not fucking know this? Like, and we all fucking knew it anyway. Like, Trump was very obviously in it. And, oh my god, this guy is one of the most moronic people in the world. Konstantin Kissin, he runs trigonometry. He is so stupid. What Elon Musk is doing is genuinely heroic. He will win no friends in politics and will be ostracized by the administration. But he is totally right. We, the entire Western world, simply cannot go on pretending our way of life is sustainable. Historically, countries build up surpluses in peacetime and then go into debt to fight wars. We are going into more and more debt during peacetime. Clever economists will tell you that it is sustainable. It is not, and someone has something to do about it. Wait, what's he saying? Simply cannot go on pretending this is our way of life is sustainable. Historically, countries build up surplus. I don't actually think that's true. During fucking World War II, the amount of the economy that was just consumed by fucking, like going into war is fucking insane. I mean, the best posting on all of this was from TrueAnon yesterday. Brace Belden was posting unbelievable shit yesterday. He was posting unbelievable stuff. Genius. Democrats all of a sudden want to release the Epstein files. Thank you, Trump and Musk. Well played, gentlemen. Game, set, and match. This is satirical. Look at this as well. He's just been retweeting people like this. Please, God, bring this back. And they were also saying, by the way, that this was proof that he wasn't a paedophile. And yeah, we don't have peace times. You're right. That's a very good take. We don't have peace times at all. Would you hurt somebody if hurt somebody or their company if Donald Trump asked? Donald Trump wants to send these men to Auschwitz. Trump would be he's just retweeting some of the old things that he's posting. This is the one. This is stealing. This is stolen from someone else. Newsflash, some of y'all can't handle two high agency males going at it, and it really shows. This is direct communication, phallocentric versus indirect communication, gynocentric. I understand you aren't used to it. The takes on this are insane. The takes on this are unbelievable. That was like a real tweet. Brace Belden didn't even tweet that. Like hang big balls, real Donald Trump. Those Doge kids are Elon's backdoor into every government agency. I mean, all of this, by the way, should be indicative about why, like, we should be quite, I don't know, why we should think about the UK and, like, major predictions for what's happening in the UK election in the future. Who knows what will happen in the UK election in the future? That's the truth of it. Because what will actually happen is hard to know, because people like Elon Musk and Trump, they're volatile, they're strange, they're weird, they're not living happy lives. And by the way, also, just think about this. These are like the richest people in the world. Elon Musk is binging on fucking ketamine and ecstasy and having meltdowns on a social media platform he bought for himself, calling his former boss a paedophile, who he knew was a paedophile, by the way. It's just ridiculous. You are too a beta to understand massive big balls. Hell yeah, I just can't understand what's going on. It's just really, really hard to understand and, like, conceptualize what's going on here. It's so complex and difficult to understand. Never had a Christmas growing up. The fallout is what it's... Yeah, I think I agree with you. Elon is Ethan. In what context is Elon Ethan? Well, I mean, he has called Hassan a sex offender and stuff and called Noah Samson it. So, you know, I mean, perhaps he is it. And also, by the way, sorry, quickly, one of you posted that Yasser Abu Shabab is about Yasser Abu Shabab not being affiliated with Hamas.
What could possibly be achieved by arming a criminal gang with proven ties to ISIS, which have some gangs roaming in the Sinai Peninsula, south.
Yeah, Elon did call that cave diver a paedophile.
West of the Gaza Strip. He, on the one hand, the idea supposedly was to prevent looting of humanitarian aid, both the trucks and the distribution. Yet there's no evidence that this gang, this criminal gang, this anti-Hamas gang, have done anything positive in that direction. One last.
So this is Elon Pinkas who's saying this. I don't think this thing about them being Hamas is like ridiculous. Sorry, them being fucking Hamas, being ISIS.
By arming this, Israel is by arming this gang, clan, militia, call it what you want. They're all euphemisms. Israel is basically admitting that it failed after 20 months to get rid of Hamas.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I actually agree with you. This is kind of like Ethan. This is kind of like Ethan in the sense of he's on a major crash out. Except, you know, Elon, for however shit he is, at least he's crashing out as a piece of shit. Whereas Ethan's crash out has basically just been directed at anyone who opposes genocide strongly. That's basically his main stipulation for it.
More importantly, it attests to the fact that Israel has, for the last 20 months, persistently refused to engage in any post-war Gaza talks. Say, the inter-Arab force that would come in. And
also, I love how we were just listening to Natasha Hausdorff being like, "Oh yes, I think that you know, the Palestinian Authority, they're so bad, they don't do anything." And then here's just Israel like backing fucking ISIS.
And replace Hamas. That was offered in late 2023, several times throughout 2024. So I really don't understand why Israel is doing this. And I certainly don't understand why a prime minister would be standing, boasting about it. What a great strategic idea it is to arm.
God, all Israel does is fucking fund fucking ISIS. It's a tried and tested tactic. I haven't seen what you sent me. I can't see it. And thank you, Eliza, for sending me that greatly.
Some kind of criminal gang.
Hasn't Israel always backed ISIS? I mean, Israel treated members of ISIS, and the West generally viewed ISIS and, like, extremist offense. Like, look, the West views extremist organizations as, like, very important for propping up its system of rule. But right now, they've been backing a guy to loot aid, and then they've been using it, the like, looting of aid, basically, as a means to then ban aid deliveries. It's insane. It's insane.
You have to keep
Hold on, this is probably important to watch as well.
going because you're there to
If we're going to watch loads of fucking idiots, we probably have to watch some decent stuff.
do a job, and they're coming through the doors like a conveyor belt. So
again, the audio's horrible.
I was very focused on trying to get through as many cases as we could. And if you stop and think about what you're seeing and dwell on it too much, it slows you down, and you do lose that sort of work ethic, which which, you know, we're there for a job, so you just have to keep going and try and put it behind you.
And actually now you've come back, is it only now really that you're giving yourself time to process the enormity of what you...
Yeah, I find now that when I'm talking to people of what I've seen, it almost seems quite shocking to me, but it is really small children with massive injuries. They've had bits of their bodies blown off. It's shocking that you could see a child in that situation, and it's not just one. It's, you know, I was running an operating list with 10 people on it, and every day at least half of the list was under the age of 11. It's barbaric.
It's unbelievable. It's genuinely unbelievable that this is just still going on. Like, this is just, I don't know, that, like, you have people who just defend this and proclaim to be pro-Palestine, like fucking Ethan and Lonerbox.
Want to kill as many Jews.
Hold on, let's listen to this, because this is even worse from Piers. I'm going to put it in 1.5 times speed.
That is actually what genocide is.
QAP, thanks for being here, and thank you for all your support. Thank you for everything. And thank you, Simon, as well. And I'm also going to go soon. I'm probably only going to be live for about 5-10 more minutes.
When you want to kill as many Jews as you can kill.
That's the problem, Piers.
Yeah, but that is genocide.
No, that is the problem. You always say that they want to kill the Jews.
They do.
That is dangerous. You and I know that.
But they do.
Our problem is not...
They don't make any... They don't make a secret of it.
No. Our problem is not with the Jews. And even Hamas' problem is not with the Jews. It is with the Israelis.
Why do they kill so many Jews then?
They did not kill Jews. They killed Israelis. And I don't justify killing of Israel.
It's also, by the way, I would actually, and this is obviously, Ahmed is very capable and a brilliant orator, but I think that the only thing that I would say here is, it's actually how they target people. Yes, they kill Jewish people, but they target them as Israelis rather than on the basis of their Jewishness.
It's not that I want them to kill Israelis.
What religion do you suspect most of the Israelis were?
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
No, it makes a huge difference. They were not attacked because they were Jews. They were attacked because they were Israelis. It's a huge difference.
How many of the people who were killed were not Jewish?
It doesn't matter. But would you like?
Of course it matters.
No, it matters. Let me ask you a question. So many Palestinians were killed. Thousands of Palestinians were killed. Would you call Israel killed the Muslims in Gaza? You would say the Palestinians. And the Israelis were Israelis. They were not there as Jews. They were there as Israelis. And that is dangerous, Piers. It's not a religion.
He's completely correct, and it's not even just that. It's not even just the religious element. It's to appeal to the basis of the idea that basically that Hamas is evil and targets Jews because of fanatical anti-Semitism, like the Nazis.
Just war. This is a war between colonization and...
This is the other day. This is literally the other day. So after he's been getting all this praise, this is what he's up to.
Colonized, occupiers, and occupied. People who have been living under blockade, under siege, under occupation for the past 77 years. It's not with the Jews. We never had a problem with the Jews. We love the Jews as much as we love the Christians.
You have a problem with Israelis?
Of course, we have a problem with the Israelis as occupiers.
How can you say you have no problem with the Jews, but you have a problem with the Israelis?
He literally just... See, once again, this is why I say that Piers Morgan is such a disingenuous piece of shit. He literally just said, we have a problem with them as occupiers.
So Israelis are Jewish.
I'm just astonished that you can't make the difference between the Jews and the Israelis, Piers.
And you say it's because they're Israelis, not Jewish.
Because they're occupiers. Because they occupied our country.
And they're Jewish.
No, just because they're occupied.
Literally... You know when Bad Empanada talks about like Jewish exceptionalism? This is the perfect example of it, man. Like literally just a guy going, oh, you hate them because they're Jewish, no?
Occupied our country. Because they're colonizers. Because they came to our country, kicked us out in 1948, and they killed thousands of Palestinians, including my grandparents.
You know why Israel was set up. It was set up after World War II, in which...
It's just not true as well. I hate this. This is what Ethan thinks as well.
Jewish people were the victims of an appalling Holocaust by Hitler and the Nazis, where 6 million...
In Europe, by Europeans.
...of them were exterminated purely because of their ethnicity and
That's
being Jewish.
That's correct.
So the Jewish people were given the state of Israel.
My country.
Well, okay, I understand that. Listen, I understand that argument.
I understand you're a bit upset about your country given away, but do you condemn Hamas?
I understand the whole history, the whole argument.
But it
wasn't Israelis given that place, it was the Jewish people.
Yeah, but who are you to give the Jewish people my country?
I'm not giving it to them.
I'm not talking about you personally. Yeah. I'm talking about those who send the Zionists to come and kill our families and take our lands. We have a problem with the occupiers, Piers. We don't have a problem with the Jews.
I mean, it's just a perfect example of just like, this is why I don't give Piers any fucking credit. I keep meaning to make a TikTok about it. Jeremy needs to clock him in again. I mean, all of it is just fucking ridiculous. It is completely ridiculous. It is completely ridiculous. Like, it's just constant justification for the state of Israel. It's pathetic. It's ridiculous. I think I might actually make a TikTok about this tomorrow. Sorry, I'm just seeing if fucking what Ethan is saying on... I'll end by looking at what Ethan is saying on fucking... I think he's saying some dog shit again. Well, I mean, that's all he says, really. He's just retweeting the Destiny account, his favourite account. Dear Josh Cicciarella, it's time to put you and other journalists endlessly sweeping for Hassan on notice. If you don't even ask him about his affinity for terror groups, his downplaying of sexual violence, his demand to give the Houthis a Nobel Peace Prize, a Nobel Peace Prize. It's Nobel, you fucking idiot. His proclamation that anyone who has had a positive feels about Bro, Ethan is on such a mad crash out, he can barely fucking type. Please don't use TikTok. It's a Chinese propaganda tool. I'm going to use TikTok. I think that this is what is YouTube an American propaganda tool. You cease being a journalist and become a spokesperson for his transnational terrorist advocacy group. There is no more plausible deniability. Ethan, you literally have IOF mouthpieces on. You have IOF mouthpieces like fucking Lonabox, Ahmed Fuad Al-Khatib, who are willing to say literally anything in support of the state of Israel. And here's your wife sells, and you have like you have people who are selling awful clothing. You are promoting the profiteering of stupid people. You are selling them crap. This is illegal. This is profiteering off idiocy. All right, guys, I'm gonna call the stream here. Thankfully, my stomach recovered. I hope you all have a good rest of the day. I might go live one day of the weekend. I'll post on my thing. There should be a video up soon. I'm just waiting for the checks to go through, and then, yeah. Alright, guys, see you later.